Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Trader TV Live. Futures starting out positively today. The NQ and the ES both in positive territory. The Dow just slightly negative to start the day. Lots to talk about today. PANW reporting overnight, doing quite well. Lowe's reporting this morning as well. More headlines coming out of Boeing as well as Paramount. So we'll have to keep tabs on all of those guys. Very interesting stuff this morning, Adara. We got news that Boeing was actually delaying the 777X. They're having issues with some of the manufacturing process there. So more trouble coming out of Boeing side there.
Yeah, and more trouble coming out of Boeing. And as you alluded as well, some continuation here with that Paramount story. Now we have someone else trying to make a bid for Paramount. And actually, part of their bid includes a fee to kind of deal with the existing deal. So that's pretty interesting as well. Another continuation story is more positive news for Eli Lilly's weight loss drug. We had a 3-year trial showing some positive results there. So lots of continuation plays in terms of news to be aware of heading.
As well as Europe announcing overnight as well that they're going to be looking at cutting some of the tariffs specifically on these China-made EVs. Tesla getting their own special tariff, as well as Geely and BYD, some others. Lots to talk about today, guys. Already, though, starting out nice and positive today on The Few.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Eli Lilly. How much is Eli Lilly even up? I didn't even notice Eli Lilly today. Oh,
it's up
942.
A couple of points, but it just goes to show, like, there's such a beast. Treves was saying it's like, this is supposed to be the last 2 years of AI. And when people talk about like history books, they're like, when you think, so when you look
what's been rallying the market.
like what's rallying the market, what's the big story for 2023, 2024?
So GLPs and AI.
But GLPs are right there.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's going to stop them is when they can literally alter our genetic code so that you don't need any of it. That's what's stopping.
I think they already do that.
Well, they're getting there. They're getting there. That's what Kathy Wood is investing in. Well, I mean, yeah. So
she's onto something. Maybe she's onto something.
Eventually, she's onto something. I finally did it. I've tried this Adara chai tea in my coffee thing, and so far, so good. But Lilly's a beast. Tesla's already running because they're cutting some tariffs on imported cars out of China for the EU. So that's good news for Tesla. They're up a couple of points today. A lot is moving, but the market is flat, is the best way to think about it. There's no economic data today. So it's going to be all about reacting to the chip names, the crypto names, and Tesla for me this morning. And go Eli Lilly. Get to that 1,000, get that split, because that's what has to happen.
Yeah. I was just going to look at Tesla. I mean, Tesla, again, what a monster it was yesterday, what a big move it is today. It's like, it's like people know something all the time about everything. Tesla yesterday, though, look how choppy it was early, right? Nice move down, and then it started to go. Don't know if we're going to get that same action today, but wow, what a move for Tesla. And I remember when we just came back, Tesla, when we had said this too, once we break through that 202 area right here, I thought next stop would be 220. Now it looks like 230. Then you got 250, 260, 270. So this little run up that we saw here at early June, or early July, end of June, that could be what we're experiencing right now. It's just a crazy run on all the calls. Let's just see if we can get back up into this 260, 270 area. I mean, I really like Tesla today. I feel like we're going to take that 230. It's going to get close enough to that anyways. And if you get that now, that's $2.5, $3. It's my number one trade idea today. We'll see if we can get it to go. But, I mean, that's what I like here. Tesla today up through 227. I feel like a pullback needs to be bought. And then, of course, there's always NVIDIA on my mind as well. Palantir up to 33.
$33
Could come through soon, too, as well.
AMD catching an upgrade today, guys, from Edward Jones, adding it to its stocks focus list. Really liking it. Already up 1 3/4. We saw that they acquired Xilinx yesterday to add to their AI server business. Analysts predicting overnight, or analyzing, I guess, overnight, that this acquisition could be worth about $10 billion and added to the market cap here. So Edward Jones, they're giving AMD the nod today.
Yeah, actually initiating coverage here with that buy rating. So pretty positive note overall, citing quite a few potential moves upward, as Shreve just alluded to there. They're also saying there's a potential longer upgrade cycle in the PC market with these AI PCs. They see that as a positive catalyst here for AMD. And they also said that this positive outlook is, quote, not fully reflected in the share price. So they think this is just the beginning. Pretty good look for Lisa Su there and company.
Already up 1 4/5, guys. What's the look?
AMD has now pushed through both major moving averages overnight and this morning. So that's the 50, the 200. You can list, I mean, those are the ones that I look at, but those are the big two. So I always find it absolutely hilarious. It seems to me every single time I see on a death cross or a golden cross on one of my daily charts and I bring it up on the show, it's the exact opposite. And it's not to joke around about what these things mean, but usually when the 50 crosses the 200, they call it a death cross. The stock's supposed to go down. Actually, right after it happened, big volume update on AMD, followed by another one. Looks to me like you're breaking now above that 157 resistance here, and you got this 200 period moving average. That puts an interesting floor on it. So usually it's, look at the chips with NVIDIA in mind, but could be one of those days where AMD tries to lead the way. I mean, NVIDIA's actually down 0.3, hasn't broken 130 yet, and AMD's broken through that upper bound resistance and up a couple of points today. So this one gets to be on the radar. But you like the deal for AMD, plain and simple. Now, the reaction is pretty positive. This is a flat market that we're into, and this is trying to break it back out. The weird thing is, they even said this is probably not going to make too big of a deal for a couple of years for them. That's what most of the analysts were talking about, that in order to put a dent, it's going to take some time. But hey, good start. It's a huge market share, everyone believes. And right now, NVIDIA's got so much of it that if AMD could just capture a nice little sliver of the pie, good for them. But back through that 200 period moving average, that's 157. It's already cleared through that. It's at 158 right now. So
yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty good day here for AMD, up almost 2 points. Again, market is, Nasdaq's down 0.02. And this is flying.
Yeah, I mean, these chip names continue to work. I will watch out for NVIDIA as well. Who had a big day yesterday was Mr. Donnie Zimbabwe. So thank you so much for the super chat of $10 yesterday. Blessed, if you come over to the screen here, Fabian, we can show this. Blessed here for a $22,000 day yesterday on the NASDAQ. So that's beautiful because the NASDAQ wasn't really, I mean, it got going late. Good hold, I guess, into the afternoon. 475 calls. Hold on a second. QQQ. So let's just see 481 and change. Okay, so I guess did you get out yesterday or you're still not today? He's in Toronto next week. Next month. So next month, we should all celebrate Donnie style.
I'd love to know
thoughts on futures. So yeah, well, we're gonna find out what Donnie style is. So you let us know when you're in the building and when you're in town. And we'll make sure to find out what exactly Donnie's style is and give some good recommendations of where we're going to go for a drink, Mr. Zimbabwe. And then at whatever style after that you want to float with, we'll figure that out. But look, the Nasdaq's above the 50-period moving average. I mean, if you want to have a look at what I think is going to happen, I think we just continue to go higher. I would really, you're kind of right in that right level there, and in around 475 or so. So I feel like that's going to be a good level for a possible area of support. If we do dip down, I can see that happening. I mean, especially if some of these chip names lose a little bit of their way today. But you do have this little level here that we've already broken above. That goes back to August 1st. This is 475. So when I look back, great opportunities here, in my opinion, to get long again if we dip into that spot. So I don't know if you want to put all 22,000 back into this trade, but I do think that we could get back into here, and then we'll see what happens from that spot. But it's hard to think about the futures when we're down right now, 0.1. It's kind of been flat here into the open. We don't have much economic at all today. So for me, I'd let it settle down early and figure out what that next move is. So yeah, I mean, great job on those cues. I do like 475. I mean, obviously, up to 20,000 is the next little spot psychologically on the NASDAQ. So we break through that, and I think you can put more calls on up to 21,000. We're at all-time high. The market's 1% away, the S&P 500. Q's pretty close to that as well. We'll see. The all-time high for the Q's is 503. So you're $20 away on 400. You're percentage points away from all-time highs again when it didn't look like that 2 weeks ago. Good job for the market. Just keeps on rallying back. You know how much Google's up since its IPO 20 years ago? So I'm asking, do you know how much, Neil?
Oh, I have no idea.
Guess the percent.
What did I guess yesterday? I made a guess yesterday, and I don't remember what it was. I don't know. I think let's just go with 975.
Yeah, it's 7,700%.
There you go, 7,700.
So put a 8x on that number. It's just these names just continue to go. And it's just like, that's the whole point. It's like, if you have to be able to withstand some of these moves of down 2 or 3%.
You know what I remember?
To capture 7,700.
I'll never forget that, like, the Facebook IPO, when nobody wanted it, like, nobody wanted it that day. It was just getting sold and sold and sold. It literally took Morgan Stanley buying the boat on the IPO day for Facebook for that stock not to close lower. And that's all they did. They sat there and just bought because no one wanted to touch that thing with a 10-foot pole. But hey, if everyone's using it, then you're probably going to make a little bit of coinage.
I mean, this is not, it's not financial advice, but investing is actually pretty easy. I mean, all you have to do, they've literally made, first of all, the NASDAQ's only up 600% since that same time. So picking stocks is well outpacing the market for sure. And that's all.
If you can pick the right one.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Investing is actually picking the best stocks at the, at any time really will continue to work. And then if you wanted to invest, you could pick up just the NASDAQ, the Qs, the SPY, RSP, equal weight, any of the ETFs that we talk about all the time, because there's never, the best time to start investing was yesterday. But the next best time is today. So get going, not financial advice.
But you know what?
Not financial advice. The market's going to crash soon.
The advice I got was just like, you know what? Until you know what stocks you want to buy, just put something in the market. I built a position in like the market itself, and then started going in and picking things to the extent that I knew what I liked. But ultimately, the other thing you got to do is hold it. It's when everyone's panicking, like on that. If you were selling when everyone was like, it's limit down, blah 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 blah. If you were selling on days like that in your long term, that's where you get yourself into a lot of trouble, because you're just going to FOMO back in anyway. So buy and hold is pretty well undefeated. The market today, we'll see what happens. Trading's always going to be different, but it's looking pretty strong for a host of names, except for the Chinese ADRs. Chinese ADRs are all down today. So I guess there's no continuation on Alibaba. I actually am looking at Alibaba for a potential short based on what it did. Well, I know Michael Noss liked it if it could have broken out that trend line. Spoiler alert, it got to the top and didn't go.
Another day, another problem for Boeing today, where we basically see over here that they're temporarily halting the test of their 777X aircraft following the discovery of damage to a custom part between the engine and the airplane structure. Guys, they actually began tests on this airplane back in July of 2024. It's a variant of an older airplane. Kelly Ortberg, the new CEO, already got his hands full here and there.
And it's interesting, too. Apparently, this was already revised to have this launch date in 2025. They're now saying that they currently halted the test flights of this aircraft here. They're saying they're going to, quote, resume when ready. Not a lot of volume on this, but just be aware, more Boeing stories. And also, we have another one coming out here, too. We've got Reuters reporting here, citing the Federal Register, that the FAA is now adopting, quote, new airworthiness directives here for Boeing 787s, because there's apparently some concerns about uncommanded movement of the captain's seat. So a little bit concerning as well. They're going to have to be inspecting some of these 787s. As you were saying, another day, another Boeing headline.
Already down 31% year to date, guys. Another 1.5% today. What's the look?
I actually have to read how to. So this earpiece, AirPods are now here.
You don't have to read.
Yeah. I'm not. Well, I thought they were here yesterday because they got delivered on Sunday.
Plug and play.
On Saturday, and I didn't.
It'll be easy enough.
All right. Yeah. What was that, Boeing? I like Boeing. It's live unboxing of right now. These are actually just these are the third generation ones.
Oh, okay.
But they're not the new one. They're not the noise.
They're not the fancy new one.
No, we don't have that kind of money around here.
I thought they were the new ones.
We get the second ones.
I'm old school, man. I plug in.
This has a lightning cable too.
Because that's the way to go.
Whoops, that's old. Yeah. Go ahead. So this is a MagSafe case right here. What are you doing? Where's the camera? What camera are you even on?
Where is he doing that from?
I don't know. We've lost our ways. I know I should have done this off camera. Then we wouldn't have had this problem right here. But here we go. I'm just going to hook this up and then hopefully be ready to go. I think this is plug and play. Are they charged? Is the question.
I'll go with no.
And put them against.
My guess is you have to charge them.
Yeah, you think I'm going to have to charge it? Okay.
Well, I have no idea. I'm just presuming you have to, because usually that's the case.
All right.
What were we talking about? Boeing? Boeing stinks.
Lightning version.
Well, I don't know. It's bad. It was bad Boeing news again. So it was a 778, right? Is that the number? 787, whatever. Does it really matter? Boeing can't seem to do what I want it to do, which was this week Boeing had one job, at least in my estimation, that was you made the bottom at 160, you broke out the 170 level, your only job was right here at $180 to hold the 50-period moving average. That's all you had to do. You hold the 50 period, you hold at 180, you consolidate for a hot minute, then we break out into the 197 level on Boeing. And then if it gets to 197 and finally takes this level, Boeing can fly. Unfortunately, can't get out of its own way, goes to the first point of resistance, and in typical Boeing fashion, has a negative news story and turns at the first possible place that you would think it would on a daily chart. So still in the downward trend until that changes. If it's not a back above 180, I don't really like this thing. Because, I mean, 170, that was the spot. Looked like we were going to be breaking away from it. But underneath the 180 level, I suppose with all that, it should be a short into 180. Not a lot of volume on it pre-market. That's why I was looking at Alibaba a little bit here. Just a little bit better on volume. And we'll get to the Chinese ADRs. But, yeah, not a lot of volume on it to want to just say, let's go short off the 180 level when it's sitting $3 away from that price. But yeah, unfortunately thought this was going to do a nice little consolidation week, and then a breakout of the top was going to be a possible plan. That'll be on the back burner until they can get out of their own way.
All right. AirPods hooked up and ready to go. That was pretty easy.
So it is charged.
I think so. I got to check the charge. I got to take this part off. Okay, so basically, Boeing coming in right here. I like the stock. I think it's something that you have to buy up. Honestly, this monopolistic opportunity. Ooh, the device is ready and set up to go. Thank you. It is working. But the thing is just like what Neil mentioned there. You're just off of right now the 50-period moving average. Looks like it wants to get a little bit lower. So I'd look at this 175, 170 area now for some support. So if we can dip down in, I think this is a great buy. Again, it's a big name. We've talked about the resurgence of Starbucks, not really Chipotle lately, but Nike. And I do think that at some point, and I meant to look at this the last couple of days, do a little bit of research here with Lululemon, because I do feel like there is something here as well. How much, it's just how beat down, and I know we go from Boeing to Lulu, which doesn't make much sense, but just in a name right now to have a quick look to see what's going to happen with Lululemon. It looks like it's trying to break higher right now through this 260 area. You get this garbage out of here, then we start to climb. I still think 280 definitely in play right now for Lulu. So if we could break through 280, then I like the move back on this name as well. So just a couple names to look at there, some beat up names. Boeing down near support. I like that 170, 175 area, which is where we're at right now.
A new twist in the Paramount saga here at Dairy. Yeah, Fabian, another twist, many twists, Fabian. So Edgar Bronfman Jr. has submitted a $4.3 billion bid to acquire Paramount Global from National Amusements. The bid includes $2.4 billion payment to National Amusements and $1.5 billion to pay out the balance of Paramount's balance sheet because they have debt issues there. The bid directly challenges the previous one put by Skydance Media, Dara. So what's going on here?
Yeah, it's interesting here, too. We do have now, apparently this is a media executive here, veteran as well. So this is a pretty interesting person to step into the ring. This comes after generally we've had like companies bidding, we had Skydance, right? Versus what was going on there with Sony and Apollo. And it seems like we finally had some resolution to this deal. We just had Paramount earnings. Market responded well. So we'll have to see if Sherry, Redstone, and company actually have anything to say about this, because we know they've really pushed for Skydance. So we'll have to see if she's willing to give Skydance up here.
Already down 3%, guys. The market not liking this so far. What's the look?
Yeah, I think when you have complicated deals and blah, 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 these can be a little bit, it's trickier to trade. Like, I'd be a little bit more interested in finding a short in U.S. steel today after the news yesterday that the Trump administration, or at least the Republicans, would be against potentially that deal if it were to go through, than the mess that you're getting with Paramount. There's not as much to dig into here, unfortunately, in terms of finding a trade. I know it's generally been a good fade, but I don't know. I look at what happened in U.S. Steel. Like, I can sit here and try and figure out what makes sense for Para. Or, hey, if U.S. Steel tries to get back to those 40 levels where they dumped on that headline in the afternoon, then to me, that's something, and barring any new news happening, of course, then if it gets into there again, why not try that short where there's some explosion and there's a little bit more oomph to it? So this is one, it could be bouncing from a technical standpoint, and on bad news, it's already priced in that the deal is kind of unlikely, being at $55, the thing trades at $39, so that's a little more interesting. And then for anybody that's interested in something that's going to do some volume, you've got the Hawaiian-Alaska deal, which firmed up at like it's $18, so it's got a little bit of room to get there. It was the Department of they still need approval from the Department of Transportation, but they got regulatory approval for this, Alaska and Hawaiian. They just need to get the Department of Transportation to approve the deal, and it's like $18. So this could probably do some volume today. Already done a couple of million. I'd be looking at U.S. Steel and HA over Paramount.
All right, I was looking at, for me, I haven't looked at Paramount in forever, really. I mean, I was just looking at Disney, and I think that Disney over this $90 mark, finally a psychological level that we can maybe hold our hat on a little bit. Again, the market's been up for 8 straight days. So that's really helped this. A lot of these names continue to go higher. With it being down today, not too concerned about anything like that. Over 37,000 shares so far, but I think it was just one big print because I'm not really seeing that much going through right now on Disney. So if I'm going to look at something in the media space, it would be Netflix or Disney. Netflix being 600 and something bucks right now. Is that what Netflix is even at? I don't even know. Yeah, 688. Wow, almost 700. Netflix is actually, Netflix is much better than this. Hold on a second. We don't trade Netflix on the show as much, and I'll have to go back over and switch it over here. But the thing about Netflix is 697 is its 52 and I believe all-time highs. So let me just go back and have a quick little look here to see if that is the case, because Netflix was flying super high right there.
My goodness.
Well, no, not incorrect, of course, Neil.
It's 700.
Yeah, but its 52-week high is 697. It's just right into here. This right up here back in 2021. That's what I was thinking about COVID. There was this huge high, but at the end of the day, this is what Netflix looks like. You want to talk about something that, could have been bought on dips, but either way, whether or not you're going to close up here or not, looking at that 700, I mean, that's a big psychological level. We could take that down right now. So this is going to be something, now that I've seen this, I was like, let me look at Disney, but it's Netflix right now that is at the highs. This has been a great stock to own for sure. And look at the last couple days, man. We were down to $600, and then now you put 100 on its head in just 2 weeks. So, I mean, all right, there goes Netflix. It looks like it wants to take out $700 as fast as it wanted to go up. I don't think this one goes down. Yeah, I know, but the problem is Randy, is I don't know where we're going to plug that in. What is that?
Plug it in. Sure. I have the power.
It's the other way around.
Oh.
See, this has a lightning charger, and all it came with was USB to lightning.
Steal an outlet from that desk, I bet you. It might reach.
No, he doesn't have the right solution.
Oh.
Can't you go USB to USB-C? Right, so that's all I need. Then I can put that into the computer, and Bob is your uncle. You don't have an Uncle Bob, though, do you? Or? No.
Hold on a second.
No, Neil. It's not US. That's lightning, right?
Oh, yeah. But you know what? You can use this plug, whatever this is plugged into in the back.
Let me see. Then you won't have your iPad. Oh, you're not even using that.
Well, I use it for my phone sometimes. Like, the iPad's already plugged in.
Yeah, the iPad's already plugged in. We'll figure it out. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Randy. But now that we know the problem, let's go to Adair at the
upgrades,
desk.
downgrades.
Hi, Palo Alto here at the top of the upgrades list, up about 2.5% right now after their earnings, and also getting this price target increased to $399 from Bernstein. We have AMD getting initiating coverage here with a buy from Edward Jones and being added to its focus list. Santander getting upgraded by Goldman Sachs, and Visa getting upgraded by JP Morgan Chase. JP Morgan Chase actually also here as a downgrade, getting downgraded by Daiwa Securities, Alight getting downgraded by JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley downgrading Stride here, but actually raising their price target. So interesting look there for Stride. And last but not least, Porsche here getting downgraded by Bernstein. Bit of an interesting list here, but especially in the upgrade side, guys.
Yeah, look, Palo Alto didn't really do as big a move as it could have. Obviously, it's up a couple of points right now. It did do a nice one after market, only to give it back and then kind of go again in the pre-market here, give a little bit of that back. I mean, the real story is what this brick wall was at 345. We'll talk about this when we go over the watch list, but that brick wall that was at 345 or so, 345, 346, coming right back into play, I think, at the open. It closed at 43, so it could get down into the 45 range, stay positive, and then bounce off previous resistance levels. So this is a wait till the open type of stock for me. We already talked a little bit about AMD, and we'll get into that one with the chips. I think it's a two-horse race today for the chip names to trade. And upgrades, downgrades, be darned, let's just say. Those are the two to watch. Palo Alto, previous resistance turning into support is what I'm going to like, but I'm mildly disappointed. I was kind of thinking if it broke out from this level, it could be a little bit better.
Yeah, I think it is disappointing because you had expected a 9% move, which was the implied move. I mean, it's nice to see at least that wall is still at 350, so you are coming back in a little bit there. It's nice to see you're still holding positive, right? I mean, it's hard to say, okay, we're disappointed with that report because we've seen what can happen when you miss, right? And we've seen huge moves down like this, and then PANW and the CrowdStrike issue, didn't really affect PANW at all. So it's nice to see that it's business as usual. I'm pretty happy with this as a shareholder. You'd like to see it up here and testing the all-time highs again, but I think we're close enough to that level. So yeah, I'd let it settle down. The way to trade these names, we always say, is let it sort of settle down off the open and then look to make a playoff VWAP one way or the other. So if you rip up, if you pull back in, then that's when you want to try that dip into VWAP. And if you manage to tank down and you realize the market wants to sell this thing, then we can short it in front of volume weighted average price, which right now is exactly, I don't want to say exactly, but it's in and around 350. So if that VWAP holds for a minute, then we will play off of that. But right now, PANW, we'll just take a lesson from Danielle Shea and everybody else and say that, you know what, with this lack of volatility in the name, it's basically moving as if it didn't report.
Yeah.
So when that's the case, it's kind of a pass for me. And then CrowdStrike, I think, is just the better, more interesting trade just because of the moves that it's had, and you don't have to battle with earnings. So for me, if PANW goes up, what about this CrowdStrike break right here? Yesterday's high of 271, Fabian, I think could be a good break for CrowdStrike. So that would be something that if PANW starts to go and we like the space again, we talked about that Hack ETF, and there's a whole bunch of different ETFs that you can get involved with. So Hack is one that has many of the cybersecurity names in it, and you will see that it is breaking out and near its highs. So there it goes right now. Breaking out is the Hack ETF. So you want to talk about a hacked price down there at $60. You're now up 12 or so % from that, and there's what we're talking about, trying to break out through those highs again. So hey, if Crowd goes and you believe in PANW, I think you can get a whole bunch of these all wrapped into one, Fortinet and everything with Hack ETF. That way, if PANW goes and breaks out the high, you're definitely going to be over this 68. So I feel like this is a safe place to go, especially if you're trying to choose between ETFs or between cybersecurity names. You can just grab them all right there with HACK.
Not doing a whole lot of volume, but typically doesn't in the pre-market. Eli Lilly, another day, another good headline for this one. Tirzepatide, a new drug, well, not a new drug, but one that they're actually studying right now in their clinical trials. This one significantly reduced the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 94% with adults with prediabetes, but it also had a weight loss effect, about 22.9% weight loss for over 176 weeks. But what really caught my attention here, Adara, was the fact that it continued to actually cause weight loss after the drug was discontinued. Interesting look.
Yeah, I know as well here that tirzepatide, that's the component in their weight loss drug. And this actually is from their SURMOUNT-1 trial. This is the longest trial of this weight loss drug here that they've had. And also worth noting, they actually initially reported early results in late 2022. This is part of how we got the approval for these treatments. So this is certainly just part of an ongoing story, but as Sharif alluded to there, but really great results here continuing for Eli Lilly as the GLP-1 trade seems to like that's continuing to boom here for sure.
All right, guys, I was going to throw it to you, but it's 9 o'clock. Let's look at the futures over here. We closed out yesterday at 56.27, above that key 5,600 point level, which has been a point of resistance for us. Let's see if we can hold on to 5,600 as that level of support. If we continue to move up, let's look to that 5,650, guys, as our level of resistance.
And hey, Eli Lilly, just going back to Eli Lilly for a quick little second here. Look, you gotta respect. We were talking about buying strong stocks or buying good stocks. Not only does this thing run away from the 200 period moving average, like the 200 is the plague or something. The times that it's been underneath that, which by the way, you got to go back to early 2023, literally the best possible place was when it double bottomed underneath that. It's been holding this since 2020. Like, look how far you have to go back on this chart for the test of the 200 simple moving average. And then when it dipped into 750, same thing. You're going to be right back testing some of those highs. Sean just mentioned that Netflix is going to take out its tops. Eli Lilly's probably a day or two away from doing something similar. Now, in the event that were to not happen, it's still in a consolidated phase for any Eli Lilly traders out there. The last breakout level was 916 with a 940 top. You're still in exactly the same channel. This is a bunch of early morning dark pool nonsense. So really, you're still in the exact same channel that it just recently broke out from, with 916 to 940 until it takes that out. You could easily just retest the low at 916 on Eli. Super strong name. Buy and hold, all that good stuff. Not much is standing in their way. There's always going to be dips, but you see what happens when this thing actually dipped into that 200 period. Love the 200 period moving average on all these good stocks. It's the only reason I even got anything last Monday. 2 Mondays ago when we had that big tank was because a couple of things went down into 200 periods, and I happened to have bids because I like those prices. Wish I could say Eli Lilly was one of them.
Yeah, we love that stock, and I was just talking about ETFs again and again and again because, this is a way that Eli Lilly is the #1 holding in the XLV, but this healthcare ETF just continues to go higher. So, yeah, that's it. Yeah, right there. So breaking through 151, I mean, that was a huge price, 152. Now you're up to 154. I think this name continues to work. Bristol Myers, Eli Lilly, Merck, AbbVie, I mean, just get them all right now, all wrapped into one. But I do think that this Ozempic stuff, man, I mean, I remember buying Eli Lilly. I don't think I got involved until about 600, but it could have been 300, and then I sold at 600. So I'll double check. But at the end of the day, we're still in all this. Cannot believe the move that it's had. And, all we ever hear about is what the next Mag 7 name sort of is. Well, guess what? I mean, I think it's already here. LLY is going to be your next huge market cap company, if not already. This is going to be the next $1 trillion company. $875 billion right now and going higher. So, I mean, this name is your next $1 trillion name. I feel like I like Eli Lilly here. It's going to take out this top, and I don't think you want to be short. I mean, these GLP-1 drugs, again, they already have all the approvals and everything. As soon as they get it all figured out with the oral, whatever that's going to be, make it easier for the people. I think Eli Lilly continues to climb higher. Plus, they're discovering more and more uses for this stuff. So, yeah, they've got that magic pill, basically,
exactly.
Really. They've got that magic stuff.
Literally the magic
right now. I mean, they found that one little seed that you can plant and just keep growing forever, it appears like. So Eli Lilly, I think, is a strong buy.
All right, guys, make sure to get that watch list every day. Dara prepares it, and all of us on the big desk over here use it. I know I prepare it every day, or use it every day to prepare my day and know exactly what is upcoming, what earnings winners we had overnight, as well as what was making moves in the morning. So if you haven't already, get the link in the description there. All right, let's start with the rundown, guys. First on the list, Tesla. So we got news overnight that the EU was looking at cutting the actual tariffs going to be imposed on Tesla China-made cars being imported into the European Union, as well as Geely and BYD, guys. Over here, Tesla up 1.3% already, Adara. Not a bad look for them so far.
It's certainly not at all a bad look here for TSLA with this EU-related news here. Apparently, they're going to like it's not the entire tariff. There's going to be some other taxes as well. So this was initially apparently viewed here as not necessarily a great story, but certainly better than what we're seeing with a lot of these other companies. Basically, what they're saying is companies that are cooperating are likely to get hit a little bit less. Tesla was viewed as cooperating, and we know this is going back a while here. We had the EU looking into this. So if you cooperated, sounds like you might be getting hit a little bit less by these tariffs. And yeah, we've also got as well some tariffs getting planned, I guess, for U.S. companies for these Chinese, or for the U.S. for these Chinese ADRs and EVs. So it'll be interesting to look there.
All right, guys, up over 1%. Tesla, what's the look?
Gotta remember with Tesla, it's not as if their penetration in Europe is as good as they're gonna want it to be. If you've been to Europe, you can kind of see that just anecdotally when you're around. And a lot of the Chinese names have been making their moves out there, and certainly I think competition is a big deal for EUs right now. So if they can even have it 9% instead of 21, that's good news in my books. The more important thing is what happened like yesterday. We held that 50 period. You broke out the 220 level. You took out this little downward channel that we'd been in. So you go there you go. You took out that downward channel, held the 50 period, then broke out the local high at 220. So in the continuation play, keep it simple, 220 obviously, but you got yesterday's highs and close right around that 222. So dips into 222 look good. You'd have to go pretty red. You have to go red to get into 220. So if you get to that level, just be a little cautious. If the market decides it wants to have a sell day, I don't know how much you want to fight it if this is failing $220, but the 220 previous close price looks pretty solid to me. The 225 already broke out, so for a psychological break level, it's kind of already happened here on Tesla, and it could dip into it at the open for a quick little salvo. But I want to look to try and catch those dips. As long as this is green today and above that previous high price, when a trend is like this, sort of joining it the next step, if you take it the day that it turns, as long as you're disciplined, fair enough. If it goes up 7 days out of 8, the one day that it doesn't hold that price, then that's the day that you might take the L. But until that happens, I want to just ride that wave. We said it's breaking out, so I want to look to buy dips when that's happening.
Look, I wrote down here on the sticky note. Muted, yep. Right here on the sticky note, we did talk about this right here, Tesla. VWAP long, well, we're going to be underneath that right now. I thought we could get to yesterday's close, 223. China news, nice catalyst right here on the sticky note. So we had written that down. We like it, VWAP play, so we're already below. Remember, when we had talked about this, the market was up. Now the market is down and looking like it wants to give back a little bit. So I do not right now feel like buying this. We are under VWAP. So now let's let it settle down and see about yesterday's close. We've seen what Tesla can do, man. It is a widowmaker at the same time as a moneymaker. So like yesterday, you ripped up. We opened the day, starts at 217, goes all the way to 220, fades off 220, just drops only $5-6, then goes right back up $6. It traveled up 4, down 6, back 6, down 4 again in the first 33 minutes. So you made your day a couple times over if you had each direction. But if you're caught holding the bag, it's very confusing on what's going to happen. Are we taking out the highs? Or are we going back to the lows? So once Tesla settled down and you could get some of the momentum back at some support areas, then I feel like that's what we want to do. So right now, this is support right here at 223. It's really the only thing I can see. So I'm going to wait for that. Up 1% if the market wants to give back. I always feel like people sell winners. So we'll see what happens here early. I don't think they'll sell this winner late. I think we can find a spot to buy it. But the idea is you come up 1%. If the market starts to, that's kind of cool. If the market starts to crank lower like it's doing right now, I think Tesla's a buy opportunity once it settles down. So definitely a long, great catalyst there with the news on the taxes there, the subsidies. We're going to find out if Tesla has enough to hold this 223. So I feel like we're going to get that fill. We have 15 minutes until the imbalances come through at 9:25. At that point, we'll be able to figure it out. I did hear a note about Lucid changing some financing options, but that's not moving at all. I guess maybe changing lease rates, or I don't know what they were doing exactly. So there was that. I just heard it, so I wanted to check it out. There's nothing happening. And then I feel like Rivian, although we've looked at this all the time, and selling some at 18 was definitely a good price. But you are kind of at an area here for Rivian where this could also be a buy. I mean, we've already seen 13 there. We've kind of held it now. We held it back in late June, and now we're holding it again now. So I feel like this could be a level, if you're interested in some Rivian and you feel like you're not going to get that bottom, you're probably not. So I would say this is a decent opportunity now to pick up some Rivian in and around $13. Not on the radar, but again, a move down, I think we can handle some Rivian.
All right, guys, looking to maximize your idle cash, earn 8.1% on idle funds for up to 3 months. Plus, U.S. users can take advantage of up to 15 free stocks and $300 in cash rewards. Hey, Canada, you're not left out. Enjoy 6% on cash balances along with a 2-month commission trade rebate. Sign up with Moomoo and trade global markets with just one account. Gain access to an extensive range of data on stocks, options, and ETFs, complemented by over 100 charting tools and indicators. I love that. Price forecasting, weekly rating reports, and instant alerts, all designed to elevate your trading game. For more details and the full terms and conditions, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Thanks to Moomoo for sponsoring this part of the show. All right, next on the docket here, ADR PANW. They beat on the top and bottom line, guided ahead of expectations, but there is still this outstanding issue of whether people come on over from CrowdStrike and whether they continue to see the growth that they're doing right now.
Yeah, I mentioned this yesterday as well. I think one thing for me that's going to be really clear is going to be seeing what these other major heavy hitters in the cybersecurity space report. We have Snowflake reporting tomorrow. We've got CrowdStrike. This is actually, I believe, its first report since it was added to the S&P 500. We know it's been hit with that outage as well. So I'm really excited to see the whole space. But in terms of what Palo Alto did, as you said, they did report revenue here above estimates, $2.189 billion versus estimates of $2.16 billion. Adjusted earnings of $1.51 per share versus estimates of $1.41 per share. Guided largely above estimates here for both fiscal 2025 and for Q1 2025 for their fiscal first quarter 2025. Revenue up 12% on a year-over-year basis. And they approved an additional $500 million for their buyback program. So that's now totaled at $1 billion, valid until the end of 2025. Overall, pretty strong report. The market didn't really react too strongly to, just up about 2%.
Yeah, just about 2%, guys. What's the trade if on PANW?
Who said brisket?
No, I don't know. Pat's talking about some.
Can't do this.
Some cuts of beef over here. So I'm like, what? What's that?
It's not.
We've got some deals on some steaks. I'm down.
Every time, like,
I'll buy the whole damn cow. I'll buy a half cow. Like,
are we doing barbecue again? What's going on here?
Oh, I don't know. I think we're talking about buying the meat, like not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not like ordering brisket. I think it's like.
It's too early.
Getting cuts of beef and then cooking it ourselves.
It's too early to be doing this to me because I'm always hungry. I don't eat a lot in the mornings, man. Like lunch is when I eat for the first time. Like I have small stuff and then I eat big at lunch, and it's like, and then I eat a salad. So I'm always hungry. Yeah. Palo Alto, disappointing. We wanted a big breakout on this. The anticipated move was 9%. We're getting 2%. That's not very exciting. So I'm trying to get pumped up with this, but. You know, there was that 345 that was the previous resistance. I said if we gap above that, I think gap and go can retest the highs if you got the outsized move. We didn't get the outsized move. So I'm guessing at the open, maybe look for something. And this is not going to be, like the stocks I'm looking at the open are going to be BABA. I can tell you right now, it's Tesla, NVIDIA, AMD, Alibaba, and Mara. Those are the 5 stocks that I'm looking at the open, and I don't really have room for another level 2, so I'm not going to have PANW up. But it's just a support to resistance or resistance to support. That would be the general idea here, 345, 346 area. If it dips into there, that would be the one spot that makes some sense off the open. So good, and there's no discounting. Look, I'm not taking anything away from Palo Alto. That buy down there in the 260s was absolutely fantastic. I mean, if I zoom this out further, you're going to see when we were just talking about with Eli Lilly, good companies, 200 period moving average. If you like it, my theory is if you like a company and you don't want to buy it when it dips into the 200 period, generally speaking, in an upward trend, it means that you don't want to buy the stock. So if you are trying to buy dips in a stock, a good one, then it's tried and true, and I just think it's a good way to go about it. You've had multiple opportunities to do that. since that big earnings disaster. I think disaster is probably the right word, actually. And now it's trying to head back into those highs, but not enough volume today to be top of the list. Sorry.
Yeah, for me, it's a no-go, and we talk about this all the time, and it just has to set up. And so for right now, it's hovering around. It's as if it didn't report. It's up 2 and a bit %. It did have a nice move. That implied move was 9%. Look, I think it goes higher today. I mean, it beat everywhere. Everything was completely fine. I just wonder now, is this the place that we look for strength? Because the market's falling here, and I know we want to look at NVIDIA. I mean, we don't have even semis on the list, but I feel like once we get around BTC, maybe I'll talk a little bit about them. But at the end of the day here, I feel like strength down here at 350. Seems like it wanted to buy the 200 period. So we'll still wait for VWAP, but I'd like to see this rip and then buy that dip. So show me, Palo Alto, that you want to get going, then maybe get faded in and around these highs, then come back, then we'll rip it up. So that's my play for PAN. I don't think we want to go there long early. We've talked about breakouts and how they haven't been overly successful, for me anyways. I'm back on the breakout front today. We'll talk about that when we get to Palantir. But for right now, PANW for me, spread too juicy, like 50 cents right now. It's too much. I'll get stopped out for sure. And I don't want to trade this really with less than 100 shares. So I feel like a spread or something like that would be already $1.50 off the open. Too much risk. Too much to hold. I'd be mad if I lost on this early. So I'm going to wait for PANW to give me some ways. And I think the way is up, back down, rip. So that's what I feel like is going to happen with PANW. Let's go talk some Chinese ADRs.
All right, guys, China in focus next. They actually stopped publishing the daily foreign fund flows into their stock market to kind of boost sentiment, as year to date we've seen net outflows out of their market. Separately, they also reported youth unemployment now at an eye-watering 17.7%. A bit of a tougher look there. On the other side of the coin here, good news here for XPeng and some of these other EVs, as they got news from Europe that they won't be facing as much in the way of tariffs. But XPeng here, Adara, reported separately, and Q3 deliveries were up 2.5%.
Yeah, nice look there here. They did have the 30.2% year-over-year increase for their deliveries. They did miss, though, for their actual earnings numbers. Stayed in line, losses per share. They also did have a slight miss for revenue, so the equivalent of $1.12 billion versus estimates of $1.13 billion, so slight miss there with regards to XPeng. But their revenue from their vehicle sales actually increased by 54.1% on a year-over-year basis. So kind of mixed report there. With regards to China, no longer publishing these daily data on foreign funds flows for now. This is really interesting, though. This is actually seen as an attempt to prop up sentiment for the stock market. We know there's sometimes crackdown on short sellings as well, so it's kind of seen as an extension of that. And if we actually do have this year-to-date foreign fund flow staying negative, this will be the first annual outflow since 2016. So this will be kind of a pivotal point there for these Chinese stocks.
Yeah, all right, guys. XPeng off the highs, but still up 0.69. What's the look on ADRs?
Funny because Alibaba's really performed well on the daily chart. I mean, it's held, it reported, got some slack, but the report was fine. I think they missed sales by a couple $100 million. And I remember when we're talking about, it was like 39.4 billion versus expected 39.7 billion. It was some in that range. And then they were down that day. And I was like, really? And then they wound up that day up a couple percentage points. So since then, it's really been battling. And honestly, if China's trying to cut whatever that foreign funds flow data, not distributing it, and that's supposed to be bullish, well, then why in the heck is Alibaba down today? So I'm going to say that obviously that move is going to backfire a little bit, because whenever you do something that's seen as too good, they wonder maybe potentially there's something that they're trying to hide. And I guarantee you there's something that they're trying to hide. I mean, this is what we've been sort of always trained to believe. And I've sort of thought that if Alibaba was listed in the U.S., well, not as an ADR, but an actual U.S. company, then I feel like this stock would be joining the Mag 7. And the numbers are out of this world on Alibaba. I really like the long. I am long this name. And I think we buy dips. So for today, down 1.68. Hesitancy in my voice about buying it right now is because I trade relative strength and weakness. I've said it, there's three things I do. We look for support and resistance, relative strength and weakness, and then sort of how it indicates against the futures, right? And right now, that is relative strength and relative strength is against how it indicates against the futures. And right now, we are indicating lower. So if this is down 0.2 and we're down 1.68, I feel like I have to look for a short. But I don't want to do that, so I have to look lower. And I mean, 80, I guess. I don't think that hits today, but I don't really see much else. I mean, if we fall into 81, I could see that as being an area where we could support. You know, we've sort of have done that before. So now that I zoom this back out a little bit, I think 81 is definitely a possibility. It's a 200 period as well on the 20-minute chart. So yeah, I feel like there's some support down here at 81.50. So I'll flip that script up a little bit there and say, yeah, there is some support down near $81 for Alibaba. And I think that's where I'd like to pick it up.
Yeah, I think, you know, what's interesting is I kind of like, this is one of the ideas I did like to the short side. I just don't know if we're not going to get the trade off the trend top level. So this is what happened yesterday. You had a trend top, some wicks above it, obviously, but looking at it, ideally where these close, I could draw this a little bit cleaner, but you can see failing the 84 level is kind of in a closing basis where you had the trend top. And then with this news, regardless of what you think about the news, like how are we reacting to it, everything's down. So it is what it is. And whether you can get to 84, I kind of feel like 83 comes into play. If it's above 83, I think it's probably doing the reverse and going to head to that 84. But as long as you're under the 83, I think a move down into 81, which I put in my note, like 81 was the level where it did 2 consecutive closes. And then on the third day, it tried to break 81 almost on the dime and then failed. Like 2 closes in a row, and then the next open, it's trying to break that same level. Like clearly there's something up at that level. So, you know, I love that double close idea. If a stock decides to close the same place a couple of days, and then that price carries significance, and then until it's no longer significant, I want to be highlighting it every single time. So that 81 could come into play. I just think it's a little closer to that 83 for a pop and fade here on BABA. If it's breaking out 83, don't want to fight it, and not looking at XPeng at all.
All right, guys, 62,000 possibly incoming on Bitcoin. We got up to 61.4 overnight. Trying to hold 60,000, still up 2.5. There was data that came out yesterday. Bitcoin ETFs experienced about $62 million of net inflows, with GBTC actually net outflows. BlackRock's IBIT saw the most amount of net inflows, about $93 million there. Conversely, Ethereum ETFs, on the other hand, witnessed net outflows, $14 million, with, again, GBTC seeing the worst of that bunch. But BT also reported overnight. We
had a report from Bit Digital coming in last night. Pretty strong report. They did gap up in response here. They're about a $3.50 name, but currently about 12.7% pre-market here. Beat on revenue here, $29 million versus estimates of $26.09 million. That is a 220.87% year-over-year increase. So good look for them. They also increased their revenue from mining by 80% on a year-over-year basis. So they did have a decrease in terms of the amount of Bitcoins earned in the quarter. So interesting report here from Bit Digital, also announcing here that they've got this binding term sheet with Boosteroid for their high-performing computing business. So interesting look there.
2.6 guys for BTC.
60,000, as long as we're over 60,000. So like if the market is currently, it's red and we're pulling back, if Bitcoin is going to do this thing where it's able to be counter trend in a sense to the market, at least when it's holding some highs, you can see it. We broke back above 60,000. There hasn't been a retest. It's holding above at like 60.5. So as long as it holds on to this, I think there's an opportunity here for, pick your poison, but it's Mara that has my attention. 1, 2, 3 times at $16.50 yesterday. And then on Friday, resistance up at $16.50, go all the way back into the 12th. Again, $16.50 resistance. So resistance to support, as long as 60,000 holds, I like Mara at the 16.5 level. So we'll see. I mean, it also closed at 16.44, so it's yesterday's close. Basically, dip into yesterday's close for MARA.
Right here. So thanks, Hey Davis, and everybody there. Hey Davis, I see you on the chat as well. Thank you for all the support on X and whatnot. Yeah, there it is right there, Mara. I mean, we've written this down every time we've written it down. We've nailed it, but we've never taken it, which is crazy. So we had 1550 written down, I think, on yesterday was Monday, last week, I guess Wednesday or Thursday. Now we have 1650 again. BTC's rallying. This is a dip buy, right? We've talked about how Mara has the juice behind it with the short info of 20% plus. There's that 1650. If this is not a dip buy opportunity, then I don't know what it is. And we're still up above 60,000 right here, 60,500. I really like Mara today. It's only up 2%. I feel like you can get lucky and maybe catch a flush. If you break 1650, I mean, the outs could be 16. You can give it 50 cents or so. If we just look at how it traded yesterday, just to give ourselves a quick idea. So there's the huge move up early. Obviously, I don't think Bitcoin cranked like this to the downside, but we still made a pretty big move, man. That's almost 90 cents down. So we still have that opportunity to get long in this area. And if we can, then we'll take it. So I like Mara down here. I think it's kind of like a no-brainer long, to be honest with you. So Mara, worth the shot. Why not? You're here to go for something. You might as well try some Mara. What's good, always good with your coffee is a little bit of NVIDIA sprinkled in there. Remember we said that the time that we would maybe stop thinking about NVIDIA is when we came in and the market, I said this yesterday, live on the air, we'll probably figure out flipping up on NVIDIA when the market is down and NVIDIA is down more than the market. And that happened the very next day. So right now, yeah, the cat is still here. It's not necessarily back, but we're now breaking lower. And I had written down on here basically the same thing. Yesterday we said, let's play momentum that way. Play early support, right? If we can find the long, we'll watch the 50-period moving average, because yesterday the 50-period moving average on NVIDIA was super clean. You know, pretty, I mean, sure, we dipped down a little bit there, but look at it all morning. Once we based out and broke it, then we started to go to the upside. Now, it was choppy. You could say, well, we broke it here to the downside, correct? Then we broke it to the upside. Both of those moves would have been 50 cents, but then it breaks it right back down. Then it breaks it again. So really choppy off the open until it got going. So we either have to play breakouts once you're confident on that level, or try to buy dips. So I wrote down here, I didn't write down any plays because I thought the 50-period moving average would hold, but it hasn't. So right now, honestly, maybe 127 for NVIDIA down here where we sort of got going. Last thing I want to do, and I told you, I don't know, as of yesterday, I'll have to double check. Remember we were down on NVIDIA because of that huge move? That could happen again. So let's wait to see what goes down with NVIDIA. It might be a short off VWAP, which is 129. At the end of the day, I bet you NVIDIA breaks 130 at some point today. So that's going to be something to look at. Let's wait to see if NVIDIA takes 130. And when it does, it's a smash burger long.
I like burgers.
Back over to the desk.
I like burgers too. I know how to say burgers in Mandarin now. It's Han Bao Bao.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
languages. That's cool.
All right, guys, last on the list here, Hawaiian Airlines and Alaska Airlines. It looks like their deal has passed the Department of Justice's investigation. They've got to go on to another department, though, Adair. The Department of Transportation now has to sign off on this.
It's interesting, too. They actually got past the Department of Justice because the amount of time for them to basically complete the regulatory investigation expired. They didn't say anything. They kept pushing back that expiration date. So gone through for now, $1.9 billion deal. Now they're just waiting for that Transportation Department approval. And a spokesman has actually said as of 8:15 today that they're currently reviewing their applications. We'll have to see how this goes. But interesting stuff here for ALK and HA pushing up really high, guys.
Absolutely. 11 1/3, guys, up, gapping up.
Remember with this, the deal is for exactly $18. So now that it's pretty much adjacent to that level, you're looking at tighter spreads, pure scalp trading. If you don't have direct market access, if you're not trading within a very, very tight range and looking for a couple of cents here, a couple of cents there, and just looking to churn shares, it doesn't have a long way to go at that $18 level. One more, just Department of Transportation has to approve this one, and then it's more or less a done deal. So I don't know the exact close date on this, but suffice to say, it's getting pretty close, and there's not as much opportunity to the upside as you were going to have before. We did have some, if we go quickly, over to those imbalances with just 1 minute to go till we get Tuesday's open. Still nothing much of anything, even after 9:28. Plug Power's in there, BAC's in there. So got to be looking to what was moving this morning. You've got Tesla. The previous close was 222.72, that 222 area looking for a dip on a little bit of a move to the downside after it was up almost 2 points. And what just happened here, Apple bouncing. I just checked the imbalances there. You saw there was nothing there. Apple with a bit of a bounce into 226 here. So maybe some relative strength coming into Apple here going into the open as that's starting to fly to the upside. You already mentioned NVIDIA starting to come down. It does have that support from the afternoon or, well, the previous high from yesterday morning, 127.5 could be that spot. As we are about to drop the countdown on there, good move for Apple there with the market rolling over. Apple showing some buy strength. We'll have to keep an eye on that one as we counter down. ADR, let's ring it in 3, 2, and 1. And casino open, as we like to say.
Yeah, he's out.
So Alibaba not doing much of anything. Just wanted to see. Oh, it's New York, so it hasn't opened. Mara's already, Mara dip buy. That might not be in the cards. Mara is breaking out 17 as we speak. So
Really?
okay, I don't want to. It's not. I didn't want to chase this move. So just gonna have to play the patience game with Mara. If it's going to trend, let us find a level to get into. So still going to look for the dip buy. It just might not come all the way down to 1650 to be able to grab it. It just tagged 17 and pull back in. So there's always a chance that we can get some kind of a dip buy. Benton C, I see it. Yeah, Intel's right at that $21 level and did this. So it'll fill in that gap eventually because it didn't gap down a full percentage point. But now down 3% and absolutely tanking is Intel.
Oh, man. Yeah. NVIDIA's going the other way. So is Tesla. We'll take a small little Tesla bid here. We wanted Tesla VWAP. So we'll try it at what am I along at? 226, 225.95. Right now, VWAP on Tesla is 225.50. So if we're able to get anything else on Tesla, I feel like that would be a good area. So let's put a bid now, 225.55 or so. See if we get a little bit more and see if we're able to hold the rest of this to the upside. That, of course, is going to be Tesla. I feel pretty confident in looking at a day's high play for this one. So right now, Tesla's in the money 50 cents. Its high of the day is 226.80. So let's wait around 226.60, see if we do get that bump up. It's your first trade of the day. It's a siren alert, and there it is, Neil. Nice trade there, up 70 cents early. Nice 70-cent winner on Tesla to start the day.
Yeah, great look on Tesla. I'm now looking VWAP on Mara. If we're not going to get that 1650, the next place is going to be VWAP in here as it's taken out that 17 level. Palo Alto wasn't necessarily in the trade plan, so I'm not going to go over to it just yet. And NVIDIA catching a bid, not at 127.5, but trying to get off that 128 level. So that's not necessarily in the pocket for me at all. Mara, that was the trade plan, so we got to walk on over to it. But PANW, just want to acknowledge everybody, PANW did make that big break. So it is going now. I think if it gets through 360, that'll be spicy. Look for a VWAP retracement on that. Not going to be doing any chasing early. Playing the patience game. Like Mara for bullish. Have to look for maybe the previous breakout price on any kind of a dip buy. Thought we'd go dip and rip the way the market was going.
And we didn't think, we just thought, sticky note, right there, VWAP long on Tesla. What are we long? VWAP. What is it in the money, Neil? It's in the money, $2 right there for Tesla. So we're already, I don't know. Neil, we say this every day, right? It's like follow your plan, get your trades. We wrote down that. There it is, man. This is an aggressive play right now for us on Tesla. Let's take $2. Why not? Right there to start the day. Look, man, it probably won't be $2 winners. Those are hard to come by. So let's put one in our pocket right now if we can. And there it is right there. It's your face slapper of the day. It's the biggest. Let's see if there's a bigger trade today. I don't know. That's going to be a good one for me. Breaking through 227 right there. We get 228.11s right there on that top. And then it fades out. Wow. Again, lucky to be able to get that out. Is it luck? I don't think so. We're doing it every day. When you're consistently putting this up, you know you found something. So right there it goes. It's a nice start to the day, obviously. So we'll go. We're up 15% of what we were up at the end of yesterday. So we still have a lot of work to do. Let's go Tesla back up there to the upside. What's up, Charlie Taff? Real see real. This one right there. Beautiful. How's Mara going?
Just came into VWAP in here. Pre-market low sit 1670. Just made a bounce off 70s. I got longs in the 80s here. So all it has to do is get back into the 17, break out that top. I don't want to add unless it's holding over VWAP. So dip buy is in if it can hold the low, but no adding until I see the strength come back into it around that 17. Bitcoin's holding the 60,000, so I think that's going to be just fine. If NVIDIA is not giving that 127.5, the next play, I'd rather not take a breakout, but 130 is 130. We'll look for this one to maybe put in this low, 128.5, or just get into VWAP there. So it's just Mara. That was going to be in the plans. PANW is still going to that upside. Disney, I see it moving to the downside, but that wasn't going to be in the plans. The only thing that was catching off guard, I think, is this move down on Intel. I've been shorting $21. If this can't get back above 21, I didn't hear a news story as to why this tanked. I don't necessarily think that it needs one, unfortunately. So just keeping eyes on Intel. If there's going to be a short, it might just be that one once again. So Mara is still hanging out at our dip buy price. If you had this originally, it got to that 17, but I need to see some strength in here to see if we can add on to it. NVIDIA, patience, it's almost at 130. If the break comes before the dip, then I'm taking the break.
We're still looking. We're going to wait for NVIDIA. Here we go. 9 o'clock. It's already starting. So let's go. Here we go. It's Hydration Nation. Let's keep going. Sharif, we took $2 already on Tesla. Support from this midday show crew. A lot of love from these guys, man. Always, always. All right, there goes NVIDIA right now. We're going to watch out for 130 as a break here also. So we're going to watch out for that. We're going to be patient, wait for our Mara trade to come in. We're bidding still 1650. We'll see about that. But here comes NVIDIA trying to break 130. I mean, I said today, it doesn't matter what you say, you got to take the trades. We said, oh, today NVIDIA is going to be breaking 130. We're down at 128. It's now straight up $2. We already got a nice little win there on Tesla. Tesla's trying to fade out as NVIDIA is trying to come back in as well. There we go. We do get a little bit of a reload there on Tesla, but it's coming in pretty nicely into 225 now. Coming screaming in now, actually, on Tesla. Let's put it out here if we can get it in the 50s. All right, nice move back up there for Tesla. 45s, I believe, right there. As it's coming back in, I'm going to take a piece out again. We took another piece out there for flat at 55. I don't know exactly what's there it is. Okay, boom. There it goes back up to the upside, thankfully, there for Tesla. So we had bought some more 225s there. We got 225.50. Took some out for some basically flat trades. Then we just got 77. So right now, Tesla's coming back in. We got to watch out for this play there. I see Neil's long as well. Got long Mara, got long Tesla. I'm long Tesla right here at this price as well. So let's see what this is going to do. I'm also watching out for NVIDIA. That's dipping back in just a little bit.
Yeah, well, watching NVIDIA pretty closely here as it did get close to 130. I have the stop for the break long, but I'll cancel it if we get under 129. The other thing that happened is Intel consolidation off 21. So shorting the 90s into 21. If it breaks 21, I'm out. Tesla, I like two levels. It was 225. Yeah. That was right away that it went. It just immediately took 225. So if it's not going to bounce off VWAP, I'm going to wait for the next available level. Either reclaim a 25 or down into that 222, which was, to me, that was the smash spot that we had that we really liked. So we're into one short. It's the only thing that's set up currently because it tanked for some reason, and that's going to be Intel. Just like yesterday, shorted this one until it proved otherwise at the $21 level. Maybe this is the day that it wants to break and break for good. Remember Apple? Apple still going. This ran right into the open with no imbalance and continuing to show strength. So wasn't part of the plan, but it's breaking out when the market's not. And when I see that happening, I got to look over previous high, see if it can do the dip. If this ends up being relatively strong, then I want to make sure that we have some eyeballs on it. So I'm going to replace my AMD level 2 with an Apple one.
All right, dollar now in the money. Again, we'll have different strategies. We talk about that all the time. So Neil dumped that Tesla. I agree with that strategy. We were waiting for 224. This is our play. Try to buy strong names, try to get them going. So now we're $1 back into the money here. We traded one name. It'll be 1 for 1 here with Tesla. Look what we did, man. We bought it when others were selling, and that's what the market is, right? It's a zero-sum game sometimes. So right there, let's offer it out here into the 80s and see if we can get another piece. We're still waiting, man. I mean, this could still, that's why when it's early, we talked about that yesterday, man. It was 10:03. yesterday, and Tesla traveled $12 up and down. So, I mean, you know, what this is going to do now is really anybody's guess, but my guess is long, and right now it's payday on that play. So we'll wait to see if we can get a little bit higher for Tesla. Like that's 226 is where VWAP is. We just kind of got going up there and then completely fell down again. So I was going to use this like 224.50 area. If we break, that's kind of where we've been bouncing off of. So I think we'll try it down there again one more time. And then if it breaks that 224.50, we can get out. So that would be something sort of to look at. And then we will sort of figure it out after that, because we sit here all the time and we say like, you know, you can always make another trade. And it's just like yesterday afternoon when we had those crazy trades on and it was like, oh my God, this is just like working out again. You got to be patient. You can make your whole day or lose your whole day with one trade. So, you know, we'll try it one more time down here. And then what else is dipped out? And I'm just trying to be patient. And I said, Adara yesterday said that she traded 8 names. That was way too many. For me, I agree. I used to be like that. Then yesterday we went 7 for 7, which is still probably too many names. But we're going to still stick strong and look at what we're looking at. So NVIDIA, again, not really doing too much there. Mara.
Now.
Oh, you're out of it. Mara just dipping down in a little bit there as well. So I feel like, did that break 50? What?
Nope.
Where did you get out higher or lower, or what was going on there?
Every time if I'm into it off the pre-market low, I'm not holding it to the next level.
That's what it was.
So it was a pre-market low break on Mara. If I'm going to go for the move off of VWAP, it's to the pre-market low. If we like 16.5, that was our original plan where we wanted to be long the stock at 16.5. So I got to let it get there. So if it's going to be either here or down here, not holding from one leg to another leg. Market's starting to come back in a little bit. I went back over when Tesla just held again. So 225, that's the level I like. Just like yesterday at 220. I think I was long 220 4 times yesterday.
Oh, no, now it's
so 225, pre-market low, right in here. If it breaks that low, again, I'm out. If it gets to VWAP, that's where I'm looking to take first profit. So pretty simple trading plan, pretty simple trading idea. Still just going to be short on Intel. And eyeballs on Apple. Apple is still holding highs when the market does not want to. So if that's going to happen, can't ignore the fact that you can want something else to be strong, but this is what's strong right now. Apple is strong. Going to pivot over to this one. If it comes into VWAP, I want to be where the strength is. And it's not looking like it's in anything but Apple. NVIDIA is heading back into the lows. It's not at support just yet. But we'll go over to Apple if we get a VWAP type of bounce. Don't want to get away from Mara completely. I'm sitting on the bid at that 16.50 level at about 55.
All right, Mara, we're long there. We just took 10 cents on Mara. Let's see if it continues to go up, man. We're going to go 2 for 2. Tesla, Mara right now. And I think Neil just had a good example there of being long at 225.40 and then giving it. So sometimes you don't always go 1-to-1, where we talked about getting potentially out at VWAP there, which would only be about 40 or 50 cents, when the risk to the downside is probably these breaks of about $1 or so. So that's where I'm sitting as well. Let's see if we can get going. Come on, Mara. Bang on Mara. Let's go, baby. This is what we're talking about. It did come into our level. We were also bidding. We wrote down 16.50. I saw it come to 62s there, and that's when I flipped it over. We missed it, and I just punched long. So there it is, man. Let's put that one on the board. It's a nice trade there for Mara. And by the way, Tesla. Do a little cheese action there for my guy Sharif over there, because the cheese is real stinky on this one. As there goes Tesla right back up to the upside. It's another $1. So we'll go 2 for 2 today with a banger in Mara, exactly as discussed. And then Tesla right there, $1 on that one as well. And then we had Intel over there and still in Tesla. So far, so good. Let's go, guys.
Yeah, Tesla's still trying to get past that VWAP. It's not there just yet. It ticked it, wicked it, now starting to come back in. The only thing I wanted short is going back to the 21 level on Intel. It breaks 21, get out. Adara, what do you have for us?
Small cap on watch here. Titan Pharmaceuticals up more than 100% here. Nice little increase in volume off the open as well, entering this merchant and share exchange agreement in terms of a business combination. We're noting as well that you have a really small float. We're talking under 500,000 shares, about 498,000 share float, and a total market cap of under $5 million. So very small float and market cap for small cap runner TTNP, guys.
All right.
All right, Apple VWAP bouncing.
Apple,
basically, that's
okay.
it.
Apple VWAP bouncing. Okay, so we'll look at that. All right, you just got in it? You could talk about it. I don't really have anything going on.
Okay, cool. So Apple previous close 226 or so. It held on the way to the upside there over yesterday's highs. So I want to give it back into that previous close for a bounce play. Tesla's still at that 225 and trying to bounce and go higher. NVIDIA is going to tank and really head into these lows big time. So I'm not going to sit on the bid of NVIDIA, but 127.5 is going to be the play for me. Yeah, you know what? If Tesla,
so frustrating.
Tesla
Intel
still
should be going
has.
down.
Okay, there it goes.
Let's go,
you gotta
Tesla.
be kidding me. Wow. Always cancel the other order before you put a new one in. I went to throw an offer on Tesla at the dollar mark, but I already had one out there. So I just got out all of Tesla. Okay, I'm gonna just be patient. If it holds VWAP, look, if Tesla holds VWAP, that's kind of annoying. I already had an order there, and I was on the level 2 of Tesla in that moment when I kind of thought I was on Apple. So I ended up double barreling out at VWAP instead of just putting the one, but it could easily just come right back into 225, give me another entry, give me an entry off VWAP, which I probably would take anyways. If it's gonna hold higher lows, VWAP's a good spot. Otherwise, just go right back into the well at the 225 level. All right, just double checking on Mara. Mara did not tag me in at 1655. That's where I was sitting. If it wants to hold, we can always jump back into VWAP there. Once that's holding, I can cancel. Actually, I can cancel this now at 1655 and just wait around for this to start holding VWAP. If it's going to take the stairs up, I don't mind joining that little party. So Apple's dipping into VWAP. We have 60s, 2644. As long as it holds on the previous close price, we'll look for a place to add in that. And yeah, you're getting a lot of choppiness when the futures are trying to hold green here. Like you're trying to get through these pre-market and overnight lows, and it's just green, back. So just be patient. If we don't punch through, if you like a dip buy on something, you should be able to get it back unless this market goes absolutely haywire in the next couple minutes.
Eli Lilly is ripping.
Yeah.
And so is Tesla. Tesla right now $1.40 in the money. Mara, we only have 2 trades, man, and there's exactly as I was also at 1655. We had talked about that, but then when it dipped in there, I was like, you know what, that's an opportunity. So we just punched in, took that trade, and it's a nice move up. And then look at Tesla, man, not once, twice, thrice, right there. So we'll see if we can get back up to glory days of 128, 228 right now on that, guys. I mean, look, the proof is in the pudding. You guys can see the trades that are being put on here. So I hope that you can, understand that, there's risk associated with everything. Not everything is going to always work out this way. Although the heater that we're on right now, it's kind of like we got that 56-game hit streak. Shout out to the man, the myth, the legend. That's probably something that never gets broken.
Impossible these days.
It's very impossible. There's too much knowledge out there too, right? Like, and plus you don't face pitchers. Like you're always facing new pitchers. That's the one thing I was thinking. It's like before pitchers would go 7, 8, 9 innings. When you're up there in the 8th inning and you're looking for that hit, you're probably facing a guy, back when Garrett was
It's basically like a support level holding 3 times and you go long 3 times. Like in baseball now, it's like everything is different each time through, and these guys are throwing 1,000,000 miles an hour. So that's one of those unbreakable records. But you know what? They're going to make some rule changes. I would bet you any money they're going to start to make some big rule changes because if there's no action, no one's watching the sport, and you can't have people striking out all the time. It's just as simple as that. So Apple's now holding above VWAP. Again, I got out of Tesla. It's still not really bouncing VWAP the way that I would like to see it. So let's see if it gets through that 227, just looking up at it. Apple in here just held VWAP. I tried to get some on the way back up here as it bounced off 226. There we are. Just going to sit around, see if we can get that pickup, get some out in the 75 range, see how far it does want to go. But you know what else? So NVIDIA's down here. I said this might be the day where I'll look at AMD for a long and not just NVIDIA. Well, NVIDIA's down here in red. AMD's busting through a resistance spot at 157.5 and trying to hold higher. So this one's looking very, very strong from a relative basis. Forget about VWAP in there, at least for now. That line is a resistance spot on the daily. It's the 200-period moving average is about in this area. So if it holds 157, I like it. Apple's working to the upside. Want to get back into Tesla, obviously. But AMD, with that news yesterday, looking very, very good. And Netflix.
Guys, we talk about this all the time. It just takes one trade. So we got that. Or 2 trades. We got that. So go 2 for 2 here today. Mara, 30 cents in the money again, and Tesla. And these are both, and I always get questions about this, so we're going to talk about it again. There's even a segment on the recap show, of course, called Sticky Notes. And then right here, there's Tesla, there's Mara. Both came into exactly what we wanted, 1650, and then the Tesla VWAP support. That was it, man. Now we'll have to look for NVIDIA, Palantir, and Google. And I said Google 166 as a long. We definitely liked that break yesterday on Google, and we nailed that yesterday. So let's go over quickly, have a look at it now. As we see it's breaking out through the highs goes Google. So we definitely nailed this one. The 166 comes into play, 165.80, 166.80, sorry. Didn't really hit. Down low. It's just sort of been drifting up. You can see what the futures are doing. We are really banging this one out right now, man. Tesla was just $2 in the money. It's trying to get going. It's having a hard time at 226, which is very interesting to me. So if Google can fade back into maybe 167.50, that would be great. I am still very excited about this NVIDIA. I still do have the break going through 130 to take that long. I'm a little bit more satisfied with taking a break long at this time of day. We could lose our whole day on that break. So we got to be very, very careful with that one.
Yesterday.
The break that was great yesterday was Tesla.
Yeah, no, that's right.
I didn't trade NVIDIA break.
Yeah, check that. Tesla's break was good. That was the one that worked for me. But NVIDIA, I did bought NVIDIA once.
Yeah.
And that was like, it was a quick like $1.50. And then the 125 tried twice, and neither one of those was any good on NVIDIA. That said, I look back, and NVIDIA, when the breaks are good, they're so good that you take them. So as long as you're going to limit loss in there, like, and everyone's going to have their own idea. Like, I'm not holding a 130 down into VWAP. Like, if I take a 130 break, you had resistance at 70 all pre-market. So I think underneath that 70 is going to be an easy out. But it's not there yet. Let's be real. You know, it's not there at that price. Until it gets there, you got to look for the next action. So Apple doesn't seem to want to get to VWAP. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit further. It's back at the close or the high from Friday. So if it can chew through that, make a fresh high, we'll look for a dip buy at a different spot other than just VWAP, which is tried and true. But if a stock doesn't want to get to VWAP, you got to find yourself another opportunity to get into it. Just because I said it, and Netflix, I was wrong about what the all-time high was. I kind of looked at a weekly chart.
Right there, though, no?
I know, but I looked at that weekly chart and kind of missed where it was. Yeah, we're at all-time highs now on Netflix, regardless of what they are.
Yeah.
It's at 703.5. Now, not normally a stock that we're going to trade, but got to acknowledge the breakout happening over in Netflix. And for anyone that does ask, I did end up getting into Disney shares. I sold Disney a while back to put it into Netflix. Now that Netflix is up, I buy Disney back again. So I'm sure it's going to probably tease me. So Apple's the only thing we're into right now. Looking for the next opportunity in NVIDIA if it's not going to be 130 break, which we're now back at 129. So let's play patience with NVIDIA. Doesn't seem to want that 130 yet. Let's go to ADRs.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Tired of being late to the trade, always playing catch up in the market, missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving. And join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial. Also, just be aware, guys, if you're looking at Eli Lilly, LLY, or any of those weight loss drugs, Eli Lilly CEO David Ricks currently on CNBC, guys.
All right. So I have a little bit of an embarrassing thing to talk about. So I had the wrong screen up for Tesla and for NVIDIA. So I punched out of NVIDIA. So we're down on NVIDIA right now. It's completely fine because we got reloaded down here, which is a hot dog can in there for Tesla. So they both kind of went down into that support area. And I sold and bought the wrong ones. I saw us get filled on Tesla. I went over there and sold NVIDIA instead. So then right there now, it doesn't matter. We'll still trade NVIDIA. I got to figure out my screens because they're wrong. I shouldn't even have Google up. But there's the Tesla dip buy again. So 224.65, nice move. We just took $1 on that last little reload. It's now $1 in the money on that last reload. So Tesla just continues to sing, man. I mean, this has been a great trade. All right, we just got stopped out of, no, we didn't. Oh, see, this is what I mean. We should be in NVIDIA. Oh, I was like, why am I out of NVIDIA? But okay, there it is. We meant to buy the VWAP. It breaks the 50-period moving average. Should have bought it back, did not. Meant to, but you know what, man? All is well because there goes Tesla Big trade alert here on Tesla. Big trade alert on Mara. Mara trying to break 17 exactly as it was written. We screwed up that NVIDIA trade. I promise you we won't do that again. We're going to buy some more if it comes back into where we sold it. That was a mistake. Did not mean to sell it there. But at the end of the day, that's what happens. You know, the keystrokes will happen. And again, we got long. I wish we actually would have gone to get a coffee because our long on Tesla there, this is the selling spots. There goes Tesla. We're at the highest spot all day there. There it goes, $1.50 in a minute and a half right there. That's worth flossing, and that is worth taking a little bit of hydration right now, man. 30 cents in the money on Mara and $1.30, $1.50. We've taken multiple dollars now on Tesla. 4 reloads in this name. I mean, that's just like NVIDIA yesterday was number one. I mean, I think Tesla today is definitely destined for that
I
spot.
agree. It's the strongest one. It's one price. It's $225. It works over and over again. I'm going to complete this pivot. NVIDIA, unless it breaks 130, AMD's breaking out, and it might be an AMD day today. So I can go over Tesla, yada, 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 buy at 225 in front of support. But AMD is absolutely gonzo now. It didn't tag VWAP. It just continues to go. I don't know if it's going to get to 160 in the next few seconds, but alert to AMD. Going to look for a buy dip here on advanced micro devices. Tesla continues to churn. Loving it. Let's go to the desk. Adara.
Just keep an eye out for Redfin here. This one also pushed up yesterday after reporting that there was a 0.6% rise in home sales for the month of July, though they were at the lowest July level of record. I'm seeing this headline, which again came out yesterday, circulating around a bit today. So Redfin near a high of days here, pushing it for the second day in a row for RDFN. They also do have a short float of about 16%, $1 billion market cap, guys.
I was going to say, like, all these guys, man, everybody behind us has really changed the way they trade, and I'm really proud of the floor today. So a big shout out to these guys behind us, man. They're putting Tesla on the board. Like I said, Tesla's going to be the #1 stock. Shout out to the guys behind us that are now trading momentum style. It's been a great little run over the last little while. So shout out to that one. Whether or not you're trading momentum, whether or not you're trading crypto, we're doing it all, man. Shout out to Coffee Trader. He's like, Sean does this every freaking day. And we're doing it on different names, right? Yesterday, that Alzheimer's name, ALZN, was a monster. We haven't traded Mara in a minute. And I even said this to Patrick. I said this to Neil and everything. We got Mara on here now. I've looked at this many times, put down levels, and not traded them. Well, today we exactly traded it exactly the way we wanted to do it. We had 1650 targeted. It falls right into our lap. We were only bidding 55s. It drops to 59. Good enough for me, man. Punch the long there at 65, whatever we have. And now it's a nice move back up there to the upside. It's Mara. Have confidence in your plays. That's what we have right there. So, all right, now let's wait to see what happens with NVIDIA. So we just did buy a little bit down there on the dip, but we're still only caught long right now at 129.18, which is right where it is right now. So there's the VWAP. We should have waited more for that. I'm going to wait for the 50 period. I believe I'm there as well, 128.80. And then we're not layering into too many shares right now. Obviously, this is going to be, hopefully it's going to be a winner. But if we break 130, I want to take that long. So we're going to get this out as we go up into 130. And I'm not even going to worry about Tesla. I'm going to switch my level 2 over to NVIDIA now because Tesla, we only have that 10% left, which kind of sucks, but still a nice move there. We took a lot out there and then a big chunk out at 226.30 at that top. So right now we can really focus on NVIDIA because here it goes, man. So right now we're trying to get it. We're going to take something out at 60. Why not? Let's let this thing go meme crazy and see if we can't go 3 for 3 to start today. Mara, NVIDIA, and Tesla, all exact. They're the top 3 names on the sticky note. So we're sticking with our guns here. And that's how Coffee Trader and Neil and everybody, how we stay so consistent every single day. It's stick with your plan and don't really get off of it. Although yesterday we had that U.S. steel trade that was an absolute freaking monster that we wind up taking dollars on at the end of the day when that dropped off on news. So sometimes, you know, you can get that story with Trump and everything, and that starts to go back down to the downside. So sometimes it's okay to divert a little bit from your plan.
If something is out of the pocket like that, or just ridiculously strong, you got to go to it. On Tesla, there is this all kinds of wick action here. When I say wick action, look at what's happening above VWAP on Tesla. Every time it gets above 226 quarter, this is happening. So, oh no, oh yeah, okay, let's just get on the offer here. Every time it gets above VWAP, this is happening on Tesla. So either it's going to give a 225 retrace again and we'll go long down there, or hold above VWAP and show me the strength. Just don't necessarily and this is happening while the market's taking out the highs. So for me, I'm going to ring profits on that. And we went over to something, Apple wasn't on my plan this morning, but right before the open, you heard me say Apple bounced $1 with no imbalance, no nothing. Then Apple broke out the top and held VWAP. So I like things that are trending up and joining the trend if I can. So we waited for Apple to come into VWAP. Now all of a sudden, stock goes higher, VWAP goes higher as well. So we're going to look for a bit of a different re-entry level for this. It'll be down around 226.50 or so. But we like Apple in a general sense. We like it today because it's relatively strong. So continuing to go up here is Apple. It's 10 o'clock. There's no economic numbers, but we can still see what's happening now with ADR.
Looks like the S&P 500 going for a 9-day winning streak here. We just had its 8-day winning streak, longest since November 2023. So great look for these markets as we have this continued strength with a lot of these Mag 7 names and AI-related names continuing to push this higher. Really great look for a lot of these larger stocks here. Again, as Neil alluded to, not a lot of economic data on the docket today, though we do have Fed speak from Fed's Bostic and Fed's Bar in the afternoon heading into Power Hour. Later this week, though, we do actually have the FOMC minutes getting released tomorrow and Jackson Hole Symposium kicking off. So that'll certainly be on watch heading into the rest of the week. Eli Lilly here up almost 5% at highs of days. The study showing that their tirzepatide has the potential here to cut the risk of developing diabetes and having some sustained weight loss here. We also had David Ricks talking on CNBC. That's their CEO. So good look for LLY with some strong volume pushing higher. Also here, AMD, this one also at high of days here. Analysts weighing in on their new deal for ZT Systems, Goldman Sachs, and Edward Jones among some bullish analysts here. Last but not least, Palo Alto Networks, this one also near high of days, up almost 7%. Beating on earnings here and trying to push up higher out of this consolidation range for PANW, guys.
Ooh, yeah, Tesla just went down. So our last 10% comes out as Tesla flushes in right there.
Yep.
I don't know if there was some kind of a news.
That was wild.
Netflix, no.
That was insane.
All right,
on
there
Tesla.
goes Tesla. So that's why, guys, honestly. Let's
Take your
go.
profits.
I mean, Tesla's P&L won here for me today, and that was good, man. We talked about only having 10%. You're going to hear that kind of stuff from me all the time. Let us know anything you guys want in the chat. The market's falling down right now, and I don't really know why. So if we do hear anything, we will find out about that. But there goes Tesla really getting kicked in the mouth. So was NVIDIA. I'll take this. So we're very light on this. Like we talked about getting out if this goes up to 130. It's exactly what it did. Our best out is 65s right there. But there's a little bit of a flush. We don't have many shares, and I wish I would have sat there and bought more. We were waiting actually down there at 128 to see if we could get that fill, because our punch out was going to be 128 low, right? And so 128 break. So right now, we're going to have to wait to see what this wants to do. We did buy twice down there on NVIDIA, so a nice move back up would be greatly appreciated, because guess what your boy is? We're reloaded down there right now. So, all right, let's go NVIDIA. This could still fall out, right? I mean, we could go red on the name for sure there today. We are definitely not red on Tesla, and definitely not red on Mara. But some of these names are coming in. Don't really hear what's going on. Netflix closes a deal.
Nothing as far as I heard something
Yeah,
about
Netflix closes successfully. 150% increase in ad sales, in-house ad tech platform in Canada. I don't know, but anyways, Netflix continues to hold that bid. So I don't know, man. I mean, that market did fall down. I didn't really see anything. Obviously, Adair is working hard over there to find out if there is anything. Apple, one of the stronger names, I thought today,
right back into VWAP.
Does come right back into VWAP. And then Google was the missed opportunity, so maybe we could buy some Google as well.
Yeah, so right back into VWAP again. Apple wicking underneath just a bit. It's holding on to the previous day close here on Apple. Holding on to the previous close here on Apple, kind of holding these little wicks underneath. I'm buying in front of VWAP, giving it, if it goes red, going to have to get out of the stock. Not have to, but that's my plan. Like, if it cannot hold on to this green, then I think it's going to get a little bit nasty. So this was an opportunity dip. And I like AMD now a little. There is no dip on an AMD. AMD just made another fresh high. This stock, there's absolutely no stopping this one. 160 just held on AMD. Clearly, this is a strong one. You don't have to fight this one long. There isn't even a red candle since the open on Advanced Micro Devices. Tesla's trying to hold 224. It never got to our 222 level that we love. So if it doesn't get there, just have to be patient because Tesla's fallen a bit like a rock.
And never apologize for anything, guys. And I do not apologize for this damage that we're doing now on NVIDIA. We talked about buying that dip. We said we would be reloaded, so that's exactly what we did get. We got reloaded down there on NVIDIA, so that's a nice little take. Out at some 17s. Let's wait to see if that one sings or not. By the way, it's only a 40-cent winner on Mara right now, so we'll hold on to some of that and see if that one wants to continue to go. And guess what? New position initiated, man. I don't talk about a position and not trade it if I think it's there. We go long Apple 34s. It's only 20 cents in the money right now, so let's ring a little bit of a register as we will wait to see where we go from here on Apple. We're offering 54s. Now we're only 17 cents in the money, my bad. We're at 54 to see if we get that fill. We took a dime piece. Let's wait to see what winds up happening right now. There's NVIDIA, man, falling back in. Let's put another offer in the teens. Because, yeah, we got double outs up there, by the way. So we got 2 outs. You can barely see it. One was at, I'll tell you what they're at. One was at 19, one was at 17. So not rocket science there on those outs, but we did take some outs there off of the reload at 80s. 40 cents real quick there on NVIDIA as we wait to see. We know there's no economic news.
We knew there was no data, but it was just, it's still a weird spike.
Wow,
it could just be, look, it could have just been the market got to that overnight resistance, turned, and a bunch of things got to resistance at the same spot, and you had a little bit of a turn. So Apple creeping back above VWAP. I gotten out there, but I'm going back over to the plan, and Alibaba was the plan short, was on Alibaba. Alibaba is relatively weak right now. So it can't get above VWAP. It can't get to 83. The plan was shorts to 83 on Alibaba, but it's now trying to make the first bounce that I've seen of significance. Not a lot of volume on it. Pre-market high is 82.5. VWAP's at 82.40. So as this creeps up, we're not going to get 83, but I want short. Then we wait for it to get to that high or get to VWAP and put some kind of a short on. So we'll stick with Apple. I'm not chasing AMD, but I think it's right now stronger than NVIDIA. It's trying to make a dip. 160 is a round number. VWAP is a long way away here, but if there's going to be one of these names, it feels like today is just an AMD kind of day. So the short's going to be Alibaba because that was part of the plan. Going to have to try to pick a spot here, either the even dollar or whatever consolidation this wants to give us on Advanced Micro Devices. Up now almost 4%. Market can't even break the highs, and that thing's up and running higher and higher. So Apple's still working off of VWAP, but Alibaba getting to VWAP for a short. Chinese names are down today. It is what it is.
We were lucky enough to get Apple down there in the 30s. So both me and Neil trying to work this long. Look, I've already gotten some out for 20 cents. It's now 30 cents in the money. I'm going to wait for 40 cents. Let's go to see if we can get 226.75s right now. And this just goes, again, probably, a little bit of both experience and kind of just, having this sort of, gumption about stocks. When the stock is, again, strong, when we think it's strong and we feel like that dip happened and we didn't get the news, whether or not it was market-wide or whether or not it was stock-specific, we go over there and we just trade the longer names. And I instantly said, and it's too bad because as soon as we looked at Google the first time, I really thought this 120, okay, Apple right there. Wow. I mean, yesterday, Neil, we're 7 for 7. It was a great day. Obviously, we talked about that. Right here today, pending NVIDIA, we will be going 4 for 4. And then this NVIDIA one, it's still at these levels. So I don't want to necessarily give up on this name as of yet. We can reload a little bit more of what we got out down there back in the 80s if we're lucky enough to get that. But for right now, for me, on NVDA, here it comes in. One more reload. And then great, fine. But I'd like to see a move. I don't want to see this because we will be long, but this is the load up area down here near 128. So we just missed a reload there on NVIDIA. I was bidding small at 82, I believe, 128. I have too many bids, 83s. Okay, Tesla's trying to go now as well. Okay, so yeah, we're all over this place, man, at the end of the day. So let's just wait to see. Tesla's the biggest, the P&L #1 today. And that's because we were able to get out of the way. Oh, I thought maybe Tesla was coming back.
No, coming down to 222. So,
this is what we wrote down initially.
Yeah, remember Tesla closed all the way down here at 222.70, 70 something. So it's getting right down into theoretical support. Close price, yesterday's highs. You know, if it's not going to hold 225, this is the price looking to wait for. Apple's working. Baba was a short for me. There goes Apple. I got the high of the day on Apple. Well, so the high of the day is 227.20. I just took 227s. If we're not making fresh highs, 227 even.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, so we're going to go right back into VWAP. If it dips again, we take it again. But there's sellers up at that 227 zone every single time. So I'm ringing the register on that. Didn't do it last time when it got up there. So going to do it here. So nice little move there on AAPL. The other thing is Mar didn't get me that 16.5, but now it's holding VWAP. So before, I wasn't seeing the VWAP hold. Didn't catch it there when we pivoted to Apple. But there's another wick, hold of VWAP. Now going to grab it on this slight trend. If it loses 1685, then we jump out of it. So Mar now trying to hold on to VWAP. We're going to try it for the second time in here today. Alibaba, like the short to 83. It's seemingly just going to VWAP and pulling back. If it breaks 82, I'm holding some. Got some at the first quarter. And then we'll see if we can hold through an 83 break. Down 2% this Chinese ADR. A bit of a gap down. Just looking for the continuation here on Alibaba. First trade of the day for me on that one. AMD is, there's no dips to be had on this stock. 162. There's like a program just gone haywire on AMD. Still not a red candle in sight.
Jeez. Tesla, you know, I mean, like we keep saying, man, we just go back to that well. We've been hitting Tesla real well lately, and so we just went right back into there. And we bought these 223s and out at 223.60s. As we continue to go a little bit higher now, we'll see how high exactly it wants to continue right now. So I see that Neil went long again. Mara, I still like that position for myself as well. I just want to talk, I mean, I only have 3 positions. Dipping down into this level will be a reload for myself if we can get that Mara love. All right, so we'll buy some more Tesla down here, and why not? And then we'll see if we can ring the register now for 25 cents and bid here at the 20s, and then just try to hold. I mean, we are going to have to slip out of this if it breaks too much lower. There's another one right there, putting that back on the board. I mean, Tesla, man, the gift that just keeps on giving to so far. We'll see if it breaks. What is the low of the day? 222? No, that's not the low of the day. So let me just go back here and see. We basically have the low now. So I think 222.75, something like that. We're not, again, the only times that we've lost here trading really over the last months is when we hold something way too long. So let's not do that again. So 222. Break, there it is. I was going to say if it breaks 75, we'll get out. So we'll just punch out right there. And honestly now, we're about flat. Out of all of these reloads, I was looking at my net. Tesla's still number 1, still in the spot. But you know what's coming down. And you mentioned sort of no love or no hate at all for AMD.
It's now putting in a red candle.
Okay, now there's some hate for NVIDIA as well, as that just drops into the 40s. We were waiting at 25s. This one could come out as well. There you go. We got the 25s. So here it comes in, just making sure that we do have that stop ready to go. So watch out for NVIDIA trying to break below 127, 128. Out price there around 127, guys.
All right, Tesla's at that 222 level. There's a bid that just tried to step up. Wow, okay.
Okay, there goes NVIDIA.
Did you, I don't know if you were on that one.
Which one?
222.5, stepped up on the bid on Tesla.
Market is tanking.
And then like exactly the same thing happened in 225. Like it came in, someone's like, we'll buy the 225s. I like to see buyer or join buyer. Did that, immediately took out that 222 level. So you're now starting to get very red in the market. We got out Apple at the top, and it's right back into support. That 226 just trying to hold like a dime. I have the quarters this time. This point, I think if it gets into VWAP, the way the market's going, maybe get some out at VWAP instead of waiting for over VWAP on Apple. So the reloads on Apple are working, but Tesla's now well through the 222 and looking very unhealthy as the market's right back into lows. The Nasdaq's now down on the day, very, very slightly. AMD could provide an opportunity. So just a quick recap so I can go to AMD. We lose 226, out, Apple. Gonna get some out at VWAP instead of waiting for the 70s and waiting for 227. AMD has been an absolute rocket ship. It's now put a couple of red candles in. I think it's the strongest of the chip names, mostly because I haven't looked at anything but Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA. But as long as it's above VWAP, I'd rather buy something like this off 160 than try to chase somewhere else. This is a strong stock. We're holding the lows, go to the strongest name. That's how we got into Apple, and that's why I want to go over to AMD now, because it's just a little stronger than NVIDIA.
Okay, so here we go, guys. We're in Apple, and we have significantly decent amount of position right now in that. So let's wait to see what winds up happening. We're long at 13s on Apple. We've just been cleaning it up right now into the 40s again. So here we go, man. Let's go Apple. Huge move up right now for me. Really excited about this Apple trade. Let's see if it wants to continue to go higher and higher. And then right now we do have Mara on our mind as well, as we are long Mara. And guess what? Patrick over there yelling at me, dude, Mara, dude, where's my car? Right now, Mara, we're long. We know, Patrick, you don't worry, man. That came right down into our level. So you know what happens when a stock comes to a sticky note level, Neil. This happens, and there it is. It's a nice play. I'm sure you have some of this, Mara. Do you have Mara? No, okay. That's okay. There goes Apple. Despite that dip down, man, no dip, no cry. If you're on the right stocks, look at Mara, Patrick. Wow, bang, bang, bang. This is the money-making stock again right there. We just bought, look at what price we're long, man. You want to talk about discipline? We're long at 16.52 right there on Mara as that continues to go to the upside. All right, NVIDIA, the problem child right now. 128 and change for, come on, Mara, we like you, man. We like that play, man. All right, but it's NVIDIA right now. We just had a decent winner on NVIDIA, and we did not take it. We just went long at 127.70. That went 50 cents in the money, but that's okay. Apple right now.
Coming back to the reload.
Yeah, Apple singing. I mean, we got some out there at 226, man. And again, fortune favors the bold, and we stepped up and put on some shares down there, boy, Neil. So that was a good trade as it keeps on going. There goes NVIDIA. Let's just check this one out, down at 128. Next time it pops above, we should probably get some out.
Yeah, I got to take some profits because this market is retesting these lows. I think it makes sense. I got some Apple out there, but very quickly, NASDAQ, lows. It's probably going to test this level. If we bounce, only play strong stocks is going to be the name of the game, or a stock at your level. So when we bounced off 1650, I was not sit on bid. I was, as it bounced off 50, get the bids out there. But I just left them in on the way back. It's kind of like when you miss a breakout trade. Same idea on Mara. If it can hold on to green, that's 1644. Little Daryl Strawberry action. Let's go, green would be 1644. VWAP, obviously, in this case, is going to be a bit of a target as well. So Apple, nice move on Apple to the upside. Beautiful. But the way this market's going down, I said I'm getting some out at VWAP instead of holding up for above VWAP. That was the change for me. And we had one short, Alibaba. Underneath VWAP, the plan was short. All the Chinese ADRs were down, looking for a reload at VWAP. It never got to the pre-market high at 82.5. It looks like VWAP was the only entry, so we'll adjust to only trading off of VWAP for now. I thought we'd get a shot for like a pop over this, and then you can get the money fills above into resistance at 82.5. But you're now testing lows here on Alibaba as the market is also testing its lows. So I see Apple strength. I see Mara at least trying to hold on to that 50. Apple looking pretty good here. Adara, what do you have for us on this market?
Apple.
Citing market-specific news, but this is really worth noting here. We actually have a comment coming in from China's Commerce Ministry with regards to the EU's definitive findings on the anti-subsidy probe into the Chinese EV space. So I just have the SPY up here, but we do have the Chinese Commerce Ministry saying basically that the EU failed to, quote, fully absorb China's opinions and insisted on its, quote, wrongdoings. Also saying that China firmly opposes and is highly concerned by these tariffs. So just some comments here coming from China with regards to the EU tariffs. Again, not sure if this is what's moving the market, but it is worth noting if you're following any of these Chinese EV or EV in general related names, those just coming through now, not seeing anything with regards to other geopolitical issues coming in as we got that market drop. But I will keep my eyes out, guys.
Yeah, I don't think that's moving the market, but certainly
I was going to say that
can move other
is
things.
What's moving the market because, I mean, we don't have any other stories here. And China, I mean, it would make sense why NVIDIA. Yeah, no, this is different. This is anti-subsidy probe.
Yeah.
This is not Well, this is not what China's been doing. This is against China. So, all right. So we'll take some out on Apple there, above 60s.
Only
Hopefully it
Apple
can fly up a little bit there. We did take some out at 45 on Mara, but this is how you stay green on the name. When it rips up like that, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Look at all these outs as we got right back up there. So we'll see if it continues to hold. If we break 40, we'll be out on Mara, but still up on it. But we will be down on this last try here on Mara. Well, not really, actually. We were able to get it out, but what I'm trying to get at is that last little reload there at 50, let's now just see if it holds. We're going to give it 10 cents. We already took some out for 20 cents, or I guess the average it's probably about 15 cents. So let's wait to see. Apple trying to get back to the upside, that'd be great. But really not my whole trade, but this whole reload thing does rely on NVIDIA. So right now we're long NVIDIA 127.90. It's at 127.60. It's 30 cents out of the money. If you're punching out of NVIDIA for 30-cent winners, don't trade it. Or 30-cent losers, don't trade it, especially not right now. It's moving around 30 cents on a blink of an eye. So I have to hold this at least for $1. I mean, we're taking dollar winners. Let's give it some room. If it bleeds down, it bleeds down, man. And we'll get stopped out on that level. So we'll wait for 127 to see about a hold. 127 is the 50 period it looked like there on a wrong chart, on the 20-minute chart. So we'll see if it can hold that. I mean, we talked about 127 earlier on NVIDIA. Didn't really think it would come in the way it just did there on that dump. I mean, how lucky were we to get 129s, 129.50s, and so on. And then there's the dump in on NVIDIA. So we'll support this bottom play, but it's really Apple that's got me sort of juiced right now.
It's the one holding.
It's the one holding. It'll be the top P&L name here today. And I know, again, play the strength. We went over there twice. We went over to Apple on that dip, and we went over to Apple on that dip. So whether or not you're dipping your Apple in some caramel or not, this one seems to get going again right now.
Tasty treat, no questions asked.
And
this is why we look over. Like, Apple wasn't part of the trade plan, but right at the open or right before the open, it bounced higher when everything was kind of holding lower, and then it continued to hold that trend. So went over to it because of that relative strength. I just saw in the chat, like, someone said they were looking to test. Look, Adrian said, I wanted to tag you messing around your trade and focus PDD. Hey, we're looking at Alibaba right now. Shout out in the chat. The worst that can happen is you're busy and someone else sees it, and maybe you point out something which is fantastic, which I think you're looking at right here with PDD. Also gapping to the downside, also looking weak, along with the Chinese ADRs. This one, lower highs, gave you 150 clean, then a lower high, then VWAP, just like Alibaba's going. So great shout out there. That's why we love this community. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you want to be in the chat and communicate with us, you got to be a subscriber, and that's how you're going to be able to join this great community. Let's go over to Adara. We got the small cap recap. Haven't even looked
Let's go
at the MPOX names today.
Let's go MPOX.
Actually, no MPOX names on this list today. A lot of them were actually gapping down. There was some news there with GeoVax sending this group to the downside with regards to an offering, but we do have the IWM here, even weaker than the rest of the market with that move down here. IWM basically at lows of days down about 0.7% for that Russell 2000. One name to keep an eye on here, Treasure Global, still up here over 100% on the day. TGL, no news for this one, but they have a market cap of around $750,000 with a float of just over 700,000 shares. So very small float and market cap for TGL. Next up here, we have Rich Tech Robotics, RR. This one announcing that they've installed the first humanoid drink robot here in the state of Illinois. So Rockford, Illinois, getting this Atom installation from Rich Tech, setting this one up more than 100%. Last but not least, here we have Titan Pharmaceuticals, TTNP. This one actually making new highs of days, entering this merger agreement here with regards to a business combination, also involving a share exchange. Market cap of under $5 million for Titan Pharmaceuticals, and they also do have a pretty small float, under 500,000 shares, guys.
All right. Okay, things are working out, man. They are really, really working out. There's Apple. I mean, we keep on talking about the same names, but why not? I mean, look at Apple right now. Look at NVIDIA right now. I mean, we are starting to put damage back on this board real quick, man. Real real quick. So let's go. NVIDIA, we did buy that dip. We talked about that, I think, a couple times, I hope. Anyways, and I hope some of you bought said dip as well on NVDA. I mean, we just got 28.13s or 128.09s right there, which is, we're at 13 now, which is where we're at. This is a 40-cent winner on, again, loaded up shares. Look, it's been tough, man. There's a lot of traders, and we talk about the floor behind us and stuff like that. You can get wiped out on moves like that. And that sucks. So you got to be very, very patient when stuff like that happens. We were lucky enough to have sort of gotten out just kind of before that move. So just be very, very careful with what you're doing here today. It's not all cloudy or green skies, blue skies ahead right now.
If we got green skies, I think we got problems.
No, then you got northern lights, which are absolutely gorgeous.
I've never seen those before.
Oh, man.
Live.
I've seen them
No,
live.
I mean, I've never been.
They are outstanding.
Bucket list.
Yeah, exactly.
Bucket
well, you can see them. I mean, there's tons of, you'll
Oh, my sister-in-law.
That's a bucket list one that you'll see.
My sister-in-law lives in the like it's a place called Deep River, which is pretty much exactly like it sounds in Ontario. Like, you know when a place is called Deep River, that ish is far away from anything that resembles. But it's absolutely gorgeous up there. It's like 5 or 6 hours from where we are up north, and you can see the lights up a little bit better when they do appear. So
everything's dipping again, by the way.
Yeah, things are starting to dip again. Apple, if Apple loses VWAP, I do not want to be holding on to this. I was looking for something else. I'm not going to lie. If the market breaks the lows, I was looking for what setting up for a short, and I haven't come up with anything just yet. We just still have that Alibaba that's working towards its bottoms, trying to break. It just broke that 82 level. But if Apple is making another lower high here, do not want this one losing here. This little trend that it just put in, like that low, that low, that low, if it loses underneath it, then I'm going to get out. If it holds it, I think it's looking absolutely fantastic. So good day for Apple. It's green when everything else is going to be red. But BABA was part of the plan for a short, and it's not really giving VWAP. If it holds 82, I think we just jump out. And if it's going to trade a 30, 40 cent range, then we're just going to rinse and repeat off of that range for sure. Big mover over there this morning on earnings. Ended up being a little more exciting than anticipated. So Palo Alto was good. Lo and behold. So holding on to VWAP, this is also a strong name. I just don't know if we're going to even see VWAP. If the market's at lows and this can't pull into VWAP, it might just be gone. But keeping an eye on it, because the same way we found Apple for some strength, clearly PANW, they were hiding how much they liked it, I think. Didn't really move much. Now it's 7.5 points.
I just want everyone to note because we're going to get out at 127 break, and it's coming in right now. And we'll go red on NVIDIA here because we did play this dip. I'm just waiting. My hands are off. I don't want to make like a rash decision. There it goes. If it breaks, it breaks. We're out of it. So there it goes. Good fill, actually. We got 98s there. Okay. Great fill out on NVIDIA, but we'll have to hit the fail because that's a flush down. We tried to buy that. And again, we're going against exactly, wow, man, now that I have these AirPods in, I can hear all those nice effects there. You hear that splash at the end. All right, so we went against our own strategies there, right? And that was that NVIDIA's weaker than the market. So catching bottoms in that is not supposed to be the play. Now, it doesn't mean that that's not something that we're going to continue to try to look for, but that right there was definitely not the right idea on that NVIDIA play. So will we learn our lesson? I mean, I think that that's part of what we always have to do here as traders is try to learn that lesson. And yeah, we did. We learned it. We should have got a little bit. The problem is we got so excited after that. We tried it again, but there is the drop out there. So we were long at 62s there. We got 90, so about a 60-cent hit there on NVIDIA. Look, it could get back going for sure. But I'd rather, now that I see this, Google is still strong. And we talked about Apple holding. Apple's at highs right now.
Apple's a different beast.
Apple is a different beast, yeah, for sure.
It's because you got the AirPods. See, what ends up happening is, you get one order of old AirPods and the stock goes up.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
That's a good point.
Just very quickly, thank you so much, Alexan.
Oh, I missed
appreciate the super chat. Due to Iran's statement 20 minutes ago,
is that what it was?
Look, it's entirely possible. There's a couple of things that have come in my ear. I had to adjust the volume on my Benzinga, so it's like the effects are loud and I'm listening to Dara's loud, and then my Benzinga is a little bit more quiet, so I have to adjust that. So I missed any headline there, but it's entirely possible that it was not the China news, but it could have been something out of Iran. The market did move on Iran news last week, and that could be the case. However, we got to deal with what's out in front of us. And currently, the NASDAQ is holding the line very, very barely here. So 19.8-ish is the area. That was the low right when we opened up. We're testing that as we speak. So if something is strong and holding on, that would be the spot. If we hold on to this low, I think Apple looks good. I don't know about PANW. It's kind of too far away.
I just went into AMD just on that note.
Yeah, like buy something strong as the market is at
But it's
those
not
lows.
working.
If we lose these lows, I'm still looking for weakness. I just popped over to ARM. Oh, crap. We have to pay for locates on ARM? Not sure. I'll double check in a second. Because ARM could lose 130, but it doesn't look like a fantastic time to be punching short.
Oh, we were in that money.
Yeah, if we break the lows here, ARM could lose the 130, but I need this market to follow through. I just realized, Apple must have trailed out. So Apple lost that trend. I was looking for the high of the day, but it lost that little trend, those lower highs. We'll look for another reload off 226 if we can get it, or just jump back in off of VWAP if it can reclaim the trend line to the upside. I just want to make sure I'm not looking any gift horses in the mouth. Apple's been a good one, but if it's not holding VWAP when we're taking these lows, I don't want to get trapped on this. We can be patient. We can wait for the next opportunity and let it present itself, because obviously there's going to be that shot somewhere. I see some people talking about TSM in the chat, Racer X9. That looks like it could be something, but I want to be patient on this next move. I want to make sure we're holding these lows. So Apple, I said I'd get out if we broke the trend. I got out. It can be a VWAP retrace. Otherwise, wait for that 226 area that we've been able to get the longs from before.
So we might have just thought we were too smart, smarter than what we are.
Old, man.
We were going long AMD because I said it just before we went through over to Neil. I was like, we're going to go long a strong name here. Then AMD gave it up. It gave up 159. So we got long. We were able to get some out there. And then it just dropped down. And I was like, you know what? Let's play it off the 50 period. But here it goes right back up. So I feel like being patient at this point probably is okay, there it goes. Probably what's in the right cards right now is patience. As we try to get back upside. We just got stopped out there, but I'm going to get a little bit back in, as that's not very patient, is it? And let's just wait to see now what winds up happening with AMD as we'll go over to ADRs, see if AMD can crack down just a little bit lower, and we'll start to take some out. But we are into this short. If NVIDIA is going to crack, I'm interested to hear what that Iran news was again. I'm not sure what it was, but ADRs has it. So let's go back over. Yep, got it. ADRs, we'll discuss that in the crypto roundup. What's up, ADRs? Come on, AMD.
We will be talking about Bitcoin, but first let's talk about this news coming out of Iraq, which actually worth noting did predate that move down in the market by about an hour, the first piece. So around right about an hour before that drop, we did have a spokesperson for Iran's Revolutionary Guards saying that the waiting period for Iran's retaliation to Israel could be longer. That's coming from the state media. Then around 9:47 a.m., so still before, about 15 minutes before we had that drop, we actually had this comment coming out again from this spokesperson saying that Iran supports, quote, any move that leads to the end of the war and helps the people of Gaza. So actually supporting any move that leads to the end of the war, coming out from Iran about an hour after they said that the waiting period for the retaliation could be long. So those are the statements coming from the Iran spokespeople, again, predating that move down in the market by roughly 15 minutes there, the circulation of those. In terms of what we had here in the Bitcoin space, worth noting, BT, we do some lower highs here, still up about 15% after its earnings. They had a larger than expected loss per share, but they did beat on sales here by about $3 million. They also announced they signed a binding term agreement with Boosteroid, which is an HPCE company. So good little tech move here for BT as it kind of chops insurance here around that $3.50 area. Bitcoin, though, really worth discussing as we have this pretty intense topping tail candle, wicking here as high as mid 61,000 before falling below the 60,000 level here for Bitcoin. Again, really interesting to see what we do here at that 58,000 level, which has shown up as support resistance a few times on this daily chart. Bitcoin still up about 2.5% despite that move down. Ethereum also still up about 1%, holding on for right now to that 2,600 level, and a lot of bullishness across the board in a lot of these other coins. Toncoin down about 2% here. USDC is pretty much flat, but we have BNB up about 5%, Ripple up about 3%, Tron notably strong here about 10%, and both Dogecoin and Cardano about 3.25%. So some strength here to keep in mind, guys.
I mean, Tron is always so strong.
Tron is the richest man in the world.
He must be, man. You got to get that hot hand in a dice game as well going for you. And if you have that, then you've got everything. Shout out to Tron right there, okay? So there it is, man, finally. Took a minute, but we did go short on AMD. I mean, just when we threw to Adara, I was like, we've gone short. I said we might have outsmarted ourselves, but there's the short right there back in. Remember, we did get stopped out at the 50 period, but the 50 period was not, we got stopped out too early. We should have got stopped out a little bit higher than that, into the 60s. So we got stopped out on a 50 break. So I feel like I was playing more the 50 break and not really where I should have been playing. So we'll try to see about AMD right now and see if it wants to continue to be strong or not. I was just trying to follow NVIDIA's lead here. NVIDIA down 2 and a bit. And if NVIDIA's down and AMD's up, I'm going to play the reversion trade. Shout out to Obi in the back there, and think that AMD can revert negative now against its counterparts. So let's wait to see if that is indeed the case. Apple gave us a relief rally back into the 60s there, so I feel like if that can happen again, let's do it. We are down into that less than 10% of what we had. We fired this off. I mean, you heard me spinning the money and everything on the way back up. So, I mean, that move was fantastic. So let's make sure that we reward ourselves a little bit and not hold everything all the way back. But again, Apple's been really strong, so something to watch out for.
It's holding that 226 like a champion.
Yeah, so I think that's right, man. I'm not so convinced about what's happening here in AMD. So let's leave it at that. And then NVIDIA, yeah, it'll be red today. We talked about that. This is what happens on NVIDIA when this kind of stuff happens, is that you got to give it up. And we did give it up. So we could be a lot worse on this name than we are. But right now, NVIDIA has fallen back in. We tried different levels on this, right? I mean, we only wrote down VWAP. And that actually broke right here. Remember, we were just fighting this all day? So this is why we talk about learning so much every day, because I feel like that fight didn't need to happen. You know, we already had stronger names like a Google and like an Amazon that we could have gone over to that we didn't, that would have worked a little bit better. Even right now, Google's not, is kind of giving it up as well. I thought Google was strong, but it's not. It might below VWAP as well.
Amazon's doing pretty well.
Maybe it was Amazon was the one.
Relatively speaking, I mean, I'd make the argument that you can pick a small handful of names in the Mag 7 that are holding out okay, but you know, Amazon being above VWAP, here comes 226 on Apple again, underneath VWAP, but 226 coming back in. So I got 22s. If it breaks 26, we're out. But look, Amazon's holding VWAP. Starbucks, I just saw in the chat someone saying Starbucks breaking the highs, and that is looking very, very strong as well. So maybe there's some other names out there that are a little stronger than anticipated. Tesla cannot hold on at 222. Like, I just looked over, I'm like, okay, it's still at that level. It's trying to go. That was the spot we wanted. The first time it bounced, we tried to grab it. It didn't work. If it can try to go back above there and hold, we'd go into the long again, but it's not going. Still looking for that short somewhere else. We said ARM on a pop to the upside. ARM promptly made a fresh low. That one just continues to go to the downside. So there goes Apple. It just lost 226.
Oh, did it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's Apple. It's underneath that dip that's worked every single time. It's worked all morning long, but Apple just loses it, so I'm done. Well, I shouldn't say done. I'm out of this trade on Apple.
Yeah.
Certainly, it could re-hold that. It could get down to 225. It could get back above VWAP. A lot of things could happen to get me back into it, but it just broke that 226. That's where we were buying the dip in front of, so we just get out and try and preserve it, as the market is now holding underneath those lows. And all I got to Alibaba to the south side. Geo, John just mentioned Walmart is strong. Yeah, I don't mind. We found Apple by going and pivoting to something that's strong and trending up. I'll try to get rid of this wick on the chart. Sorry, guys. It did not print 69. If you got 69, that trade's going to be broken. But trending way higher off of VWAP. Let's see if we can go to the 15-minute. 75, 75, 75. That's the high from 3 days ago. If it gets to that price, it's finally going after that malaise after the earnings. So if it's going to trend into 75, look for dips.
Here we go.
Instead of the high of the day. I'd rather get it in VWAP or maybe down into this 74 here on Walmart.
So we'll keep Apple in the pocket until it breaks a little lower. All right, so we're long right now. Apple 225.92, 20 cents in the money. We'll take a piece out right there at 10s. So that's going to be a good trade. So sorry, 18 cents in the money there on Apple. And by the way, ring it. Sharif, the big thing that's changed for me, and Sharif talked about this having conviction, and that's something that he's mentions now about not letting his stock off the hook. You are what you are there, AMD. And we said that we were, Neil, a percent ago, we said this could retrace back in with NVIDIA. So guess where we're short? It's $1.30 now in the money right there for another play on AMD. So yeah, man, okay, Apple. Let's go. Nice move up there for Apple as it gets into the 20s, able to get something out. Nice move there for Apple. Nice move there for AMD. Neil, AMD is getting bigger and better and badder right now, as that's now $1.70 in the money. Now, bye-bye, AMD. It's nice to see you, but we already saw you a lot up here at 159. We're short, guys, 159.40. And this was after thinking about the long. This is where we say real traders stand up. Okay, like Travolta's like, get up there, guys. You got to be able to sometimes change up the plan. See what's happening, right? This market started puking. The minute that happened, we switched over, man. We found weaker names. Sure, we bought strength. We bought strength in Apple, and we're up more on Apple now than before this tank. So look, buy Apple down here at 226. Now, if it breaks now, our stop is at 225.84. So if that breaks lower, fine. We'll take a 6 cent, maybe 10 cent hit on this name. We just took 40 cents on the reload up. So, I mean, if you're talking about risk to reward and everything like that, to take a line from Neil, and of course, famous movie, I'm your Huckleberry. There it goes, AMD, a nice move to the downside right now. Again, 157.80. I might just take a piece out. I mean, we're almost $2 in the money. Can we get back to this area, 156.30? Oh boy, that would be sweet if it gets down to there. Let's put a bid at 157.13. You never know. Sometimes you get what you wish for, and that would be really nice if we were able to get that, man. It's a day again. It's Apple, it's AMD, it's Mara. Oh yeah, Mara, boo Mara. Mara drops all the way down right there. So Mara goes down in. We get out at that 50 break, man. Then we get out at 40 break. So we reloaded it there. The last piece out at 40, it broke down in. Feel like this could be a reload. You got to wait for this to break, of course. And by this, I mean the old famous BTC. A break of that would be nice for me.
That's the thing. We did break that 60 thou level, I think, as you can see on Sean's chart over there. But 60 thou in the rear view, the lows on the rear view, pivoted out of the longs at this point. So still going to hold on to Bob. But we got to show you here. I didn't zoom this one out for everybody. That's my bad. I was kind of looking at that condensed. There is a pre-market and overnight low in here at 81.6. So station to station on this, if we bounce off the 60 level, I'm getting out on this one back in through 81.80. So this was the first place we pivoted to. Why? Because in my note this morning, I had a bunch of long ideas and Alibaba. And Alibaba was the short one. So when it holds underneath VWAP and the market's dumping, just the first opportunity to get it in front of VWAP is what we went ahead and did. That's what you have to do. You got to be willing to play some weak names. You can talk about having a plan, sticking to the plan. The other thing is being able to pivot away from it. Apple wasn't on my plan. And then when it was relatively strong, as pointed out right at that open, we grabbed it, and it's worked out very well. Let's see what other sectors might be strong or weak with ADRs and Sector Watch.
These sectors are all pretty much flat. There's one pretty notable exception here in terms of strength in health technology. We do have Eli Lilly, of course, chief among these groups to the upside. J&J, though, and Merck also positive. But Eli Lilly pushing higher here after a positive study for its weight loss drug, showing that it also decreases diabetes as well, the risks of diabetes. So good look there for LLY, up above 960 at one point today. We had also some strong weakness here in energy and minerals right across the board as ongoing tensions in the Middle East, bringing oil prices to the downside. Producer manufacturing a little bit mixed as well. We have AMAT day 3 earnings notably red. A little bit more mixed here in consumer services. And a lot of these sectors almost flat, like utilities, process industries, communications, commercial services. Of course, we do have to talk about this tech sector. NVIDIA going from looking like a 130 break up to down about 3%. Broadcom also weaker here, but AMD holding up this sector pretty nicely. Pretty flat, though, in the other tech sector, with the exception of some strength on PANW after earnings, guys.
Go PANW, and Marlon in the chat, we got you. Came to say thanks for Palo Alto from back in February. I can tell you that was That was the one stock. There's a few times that this has happened where like literally everybody, I don't want to say like, maybe it wasn't literally everybody, but everybody that's on the show and a few people on the floor, maybe not the entire floor, but everyone liked that 265 level on PANW. No questions asked. And when it got down there, it was a gift. When the good stocks give you opportunities to dip buy and you want to hold it, go buy that dip. Alibaba just tagging the low. So as part of the plan, if it holds on to this consolidation after the breakdown, trail move from 80 down into here into the mid 60s, we'll just short this name. This was the first one that came to mind, so we went on over to it, just back over to what had been relatively strong. You got Apple. Remember the trend that it broke? So this is what trailed me out of Apple when it broke this kind of upper trend, trying to get back above, downward sloping trend, trying to get back above, lost VWAP. Then tried to bounce off of 226. That trend then rejected as well, and it's headed right back into low. So I got out of it, and the only way I was jumping back into Apple is a reclaim of this general line. Like I want to see it hold that. I want to see it hold VWAP. Otherwise, we're just weak, and we got to get away from it. Lots of things moving around. With this market testing these lows, I go right over to, I'm like, okay, well, what's still strong? And Walmart might just get to 75 without allowing any kind of a dip. That's a relatively strong name. Someone asked me why not buy Tesla at 220? Because A, that wasn't necessarily part of the plan. And I want to see when the market's tanking, I don't just want to stand in front of a level. I think if it's part of the opening range plan, great. But if we're at like 1045, where I don't want to be rushing into trades, I want to see what happens at that level, because 220 was a good breakout yesterday, but after the breakout at 220, look at how it traded off this level. You got lower highs, 219 ends up holding twice, then it looks like 220 is holding, that's 219 and a half. So really in the afternoon, 220 was just a good early break that gave you a buck and a half. The rest is 219 out here in the afternoon on Tesla. So that's my reason for not just being long at 220. It's a general area of support which is held. That
for you.
Oh, thanks, brother.
I got a coffee and I was like, I'm pretty sure Neil might be out of water and you might be coffeeed out.
The most frustrating.
Because you had that double espresso, whatever that.
Yeah, the most frustrating thing is with the crutches and the Achilles. It's not being able to do certain things for yourself. I'll tell you right now, like I absolutely hate it, man. Like I have to hire somebody to cut my grass. I need people to go get me a coffee because I can't hold crap.
You don't have someone cut your grass all the time?
Well, I mean, we had a teenager in the neighborhood. We went to.
And I can't even get my kids to cut the damn.
We had this neighborhood dude. He had a Facebook thing. He's cutting grass. He's shoveling snow.
Yes,
I'm like, yo, this dude. We moved in. I'm like, this dude is my boy. He's ambitious, all that kind of stuff. And then he goes out and goes to university.
Yeah,
he goes out there to improve himself.
Who the hell does that?
Instead of just helping.
University.
Who does that instead of just keeping your neighborhood business going? Great kid. He was a great kid. His dad played in the CFL too.
Oh, good. Yeah. All right, that's cool. That's interesting to know. All right.
It's random.
Did you recognize his name when he told it, or no? Not really.
No, I mean I don't really follow.
Yeah, neither do I.
I don't really follow the CFL. I know who Chad Kelly is.
I know who Doug Flutie is, and Warren Moon as well. Joe Namath, wasn't he in the CFL for 1 minute? I think he was as well.
Warren Moon should have never had to gone to CFL. Just saying.
Noops. The Bulls been okay, but not good. We'll spin this one for Ozan. What's up, Ozan? When I'm putting prices in there, sometimes you get them. We put AMD $3 winner. It went down to 157. We were sitting there. It hit us. So we take out 157.09s or 157.10. Sorry, $2.50 in the money there on that take. But we come back and we're like, what happened to our Apple? Came out. It broke. We talked about the level. I'm glad to get out where it broke, man. We got out at 84. Actually, 84 clean. The stop orders seem to be working pretty good today, as we did not slip up on NVIDIA or anything like that. This order was like a 1 or 2 penny slip. Oh, we just came all the way back to 127. We're right there right now. Nice little bounce back in the market. I actually didn't pay enough attention to that. Bounce back in the market. We should have gone long TQQs down there. When we see the market bounce like that, and Apple tries to bounce a little bit. Apple's up 30 cents. NVIDIA's up as well. We could have had a look down here at the TQs. For that dip, just because some names starting to retrace back higher. That's kind of the indicator. Like, instead of sitting there and trashing NVIDIA the whole way, like waiting for this to happen, you could see that bounce and then hop over here and look for a futures trade back, because the market's going to go down and up. It's only down 0.4. It can get back up. Like, I don't know if this is one of those completely washed out days yet. Like, it's not. That was a big move. We got that Iran or Iraq news there.
It was Iran. It was Iran.
It was Iran. So, okay. And then we don't have too much negative news about the Mag 7 yet. So that, to me, keeps this trade still alive. So I still think we want to go short. We're down. We're under VWAP. But not as aggressively short as maybe we were at one point thinking.
So Baba did a candle that is going to trail. If I'm short a stock and it does this kind of a candle, I'm getting out every single time. Biggest volume spike of the day at about 10:45 right here. It makes a fresh low, gets to 81.25. I'm like, okay, big spike on volume, put a trail back in. I threw it at 40s because that was kind of this local bottom. Went all the way to 70 on one shot. So there was maybe a chance that it could have come back into this range where I would have liked it, 81.5 or 81.80 into 82 into VWAP, but we're just gonna be patient with it. Big time reversal. Volume matters. I have VWAP on this 3-minute chart. I got volume on this chart, because look at that spike. And when a move happens on volume, I'm going to respect it. And if it's a green one, wait for it to get back into VWAP for a reshort there. So big move there in Alibaba. I'm now not in anything. Only 10 minutes to go, and I'm not really rushing into anything. I've put up Walmart for the chance that this could do some kind of a VWAP retracement. Like, look at the nice strong trend in this one to the upside, up 1%. It's also a continuation on earnings, which we love. So earnings play, continuation, Walmart, room to 75, dip into the quarters, and we'll see if we can pick that one up. Let's go over to Adara for Money Talks.
Shane McMahon.
DXY pushing lower here. This is the third steep red candle in a row on the daily chart for the US dollar. We're actually coming to levels we haven't seen since January 2nd, 2024. So a bit of a move down here in tandem with that push down we had in the markets for the DXY on a day where we don't really have any economic data. Be aware, though, later in the afternoon, we have not one but two Fed speakers. First, we'll get Fed's Bostic at 1:35. We know Bostic moved the market down a little bit last time he spoke last week, so that'll be on watch. Then at 2:45, we'll have comments from Fed's Bar heading into power hour. So definitely two speakers to be aware of here with regards to the market, but also to the US dollar as we head into what should be a pretty exciting day tomorrow. We have the FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. and the start from the July meeting. And we'll also have the start of the Jackson Hole Symposium. So though it's been a bit of a muted start to the week in terms of economic data, should be a pretty interesting finish, guys.
It should be interesting.
Roll Jackson Hole.
For sure. All righty. Oh, I was going to say, we tried to short Tesla up there at 221, missed it. Had to get 220.80s. So right now we're short at 220.83. And I'm just trying to go short ahead of this. So actually, I'm on the wrong stop order again right now. All right. So we're going to try to get a 221. And then we're going to try to play off this 50-period moving average, which is basically at 222. So try to give this one a little bit. We do not have a full position yet. Wanted to get into something short in case the market was, again, a short back in. We're short right now at 220.80s. We can get something out like in the 50s. We should probably try that. And again, Tesla's a top name for us. So I don't have sort of a problem getting a little bit out here, sort of adding to some of the net that we've been having. We'll bid some 75s here. It just did not break it. If we could take 15 cents on 5%, we'll do that. Pay for some of the fees. It's just kind of like the habit that I have. We probably shouldn't always get out so quickly, but here it comes down in. There it is right now, making the move back in on Tesla. So, all right, we'll take a little piece. We are trying to average this, but we are aggressively watching this 50-period moving average because, of course, it's always changing. So for right now, we'll put the stop in a little bit higher, but we just have about a third of our position. So let's see if it can fade out. We know we want to get to start. We want to start this right now. I'm bidding in the 50s. Ooh, it just got to 61 there. If we can flush, you see what I mean about liquidity? Like, I wasn't here that day. I can only imagine, like, when the VIX goes from like 20 to 80.
There was nobody out there.
Like, there's nobody out there.
You know what? we had a trader visit who's been trading a very long time from Montreal, and it was the best explanation that you could ever hear, was what he was sort of describing about that Monday. The only people that were selling were people that were at the open, had a bunch of stops triggered. So all the sell action was just anybody that had a stop trigger, like an order was getting thrown out in the offer, and it was getting gobbled up by algorithms, which could have been some buybacks, which could have been the smart money that was trying to get in there. And then the day traders couldn't get jack, because I had what I thought was the most genius plan that morning, and I was 100% sure that the right plan of action was to pick one stock and one long and go for that. I'm like, Apple 200. I'm sorry, I'm on the offer of ARM, but it was Apple 200 on that morning. I said that there's probably a million things that you could try to dip by on that Manic Monday, whatever the heck you're calling it. And I was like, I'm going Apple 200 buy down here at the open instead of spreading the love and just seeing if I could get one of 4 or 5 things. I fired one order. You couldn't get jack. Apple went all the way to like 208 on one candle on a 3. It was ridiculous how far that move went on Apple, and there was just no getting any liquidity. So if I had to do it over again, I would have just spread that order across 3 different things and put the same risk on 3 buys that I liked and hope to get filled somewhere, which is exactly what that trader told me. I'm like, yeah, it's felt smart to go for one. I ended up being dead wrong about that, but you learn. And now the next time that happens, I'll have a different plan of action. So I'm trying to get ARM here off that 130. I said I like ARM at 130. I didn't want to short it at the lows when the market was at lows. It bounces right back up into the 130. Problem with ARM is now the spread is like it's opening up a spread. So I tried to get 75s in there. Didn't get picked up. The good news is that real trading, ARM is free locates now.
Ooh la la.
Used to have to pay for this one. Free locates on ARM for us. So it looks like a good one. Just can't seem to find my way in off that 130 level. So we got to be patient for it. We only have 5 minutes till we head you on over to the midday. This is one of those mornings. Got to try to find, if you like the weakness, just try to find entries. Still waiting for Alibaba to maybe get back into that 82. Big reversal candle. Not a lot of follow through. So there might be the chance that this 80-80 level, see how long it held 80-80 and then broke down? Might be worth a shot here for a tighter stop and an entry off 81.80, off of 81.80 here on Alibaba. We got great feedback, and I've asked the back office about this. I can make the chart bigger so you guys can read it's Alibaba down 2.6%, right. But these little numbers down here, what I wanted is the price that it's at, maybe just be able to enlarge those so everyone can kind of see the prices. So when I say 80.80, you guys can see very clearly I mean $81.80 there. But that's something we try to work on here is make it better for you. Platform is for traders, by traders. For us, by us. Over here at Real Trading.
We're short, good talk there. Yeah, join Real Trading ASAP. Campus program, I believe, closed due to overwhelming success.
Yeah.
So shout out to the campus program there. It's full up. Okay, so we are not full up yet on Tesla, but we've been taking profits while Neil was talking there. We're short at 221.20. Now we've got half of our position. We're now out of 10% of, there it is, of that half. Bang, 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 here we go. It is Tesla. Tesla goes to #1 P&L for your boy right now, as there's the short on Tesla. Let's get excited one more time here, Toronto. It's a nice move down in. We're now $2.50 in the money as the Diamond Hand Man. That's not me, but we have $3 in the money now on AMD as that's turning around. And oh boy, Tesla now 70 cents in the money. And it's a good thing that you came back, man. Like, we were letting Neil sort of breathe there. He sort of spit that knowledge. We were shorting Tesla, and there it comes. It's Tesla, and it is a doozy. And again, look what kind of style of trader we are. We talk about this over and over again. We are playing against weaker names. We know what we're doing around here, and we're doing it pretty good. And there goes Tesla. Hey, Neil, it just put in so right now we're holding $4 in the money. 3 on NVIDIA, 3 on AMD in the money short on what everyone thought was, and you were right, the strongest name. Remember what we said 2% ago. AMD, it's time to revert back. So there goes AMD. We shorted that one. And oh boy, Tesla, now $1 and change. There goes AMD, guys. We did it again on AMD here today as we short the you-know-what out of this name, and now it pulls back in. It is a 1, a 2, a $3 winner short on this play, and it's an easy trade, man. It's basically one trade. We shorted it at the 50-period moving average, lucky enough to have this name completely fall down, and the crazy part is the NASDAQ is barely red. How good will this day get by the time you come back? I don't know. But this is a good day, man. Great trading, Neil. Good short on that Alibaba. We really like that Alibaba short.
Well, I'd rather the stock go up in the long term, but
who cares about the long term, man? The long term will be fine. We talked about that investing. That's why I don't need to worry about that.
Left brain, right brain.
Although I always do check my account. Not really. Here we go. Let's go to the downside. What a great morning it's been. We are back into our hydration nation.
Yes, sir.
We're actually at the 1 p.m. level already.
Yeah, but do you actually adhere
I filled
to that,
it at 9. I filled it at 9 because I was late.
Yeah, I was going to say,
wrong screen there. I'm trying to show. There it is. You see, it's drink more, but we're at the 1 p.m. Well, 1 p.m. says, come on. We're actually lower than that. We're at the 3 p.m. level. The hydration nation's working, man. Working.
See, that's the thing. Like, you always want to have those routines that keep you in check, right? So whether it's the big bottle, whether it's, for you, the sticky note, for me, the iPad, and shout out to everyone in the chat. Like, you have to be able to, like, reverse. There was a point where the market was all exuberant, and I'm like, okay, well, it's turning off of some of these highs. The first thing was, like, I just like BABA because it was on the plan for short, but at 10 o'clock, everything was looking strong. But this was relatively weak. We're back into it. I'm going to show you what happened on ARM. Remember that spread that opened up that I didn't want to chase down into? Well, ARM went all the way to the low at 128. The spread just opened double. Now it's like a 30-cent spread, when up here it was like 15, 20, and we thought we could get the fill. So I still like it for a short, but I'm not chasing. I'm not punching lows at 11 o'clock. This is not a time of day that I ever want to punch the low. We like that one trend down, but I didn't pick it up. The reload we got in Alibaba, we did not get the fill in ARM. We might get the chance to get back into this off the 130 level for sure. We'll see. I just saw Bazelicious saying that's way too much water without exercising. It's all day. That's not way too much water. It's the entire day.
You're supposed to have like 8 cups of water, or what is the?
You know what? There's like that's that old rule that people say. I don't know how true that is. I just think you got to drink. Drink as you get thirsty, man. Like I try to keep it in the same pocket.
I'll go walk. I mean, I'll go probably walk like 5 or 6,000 steps in the next half hour.
Yeah, it's what as long as you're thirsty.
I'm gonna figure out what the. I'm not even really that thirsty.
I just say water over juice. Like I don't drink juice. I drink coffee and water, and every now and then we have a fun beverage. But it's 11 o'clock, so let's go shorts. Let's go on over. It's the midday. It's Learn to Trade. It is Sharif and Adara. Go get them.
Bring it down, AMD.
Yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That in the lovely purple is your girl, Adara, and I am Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other chat. A little bit of a delayed reaction today. Shout out to the Bears, or to Bears versus Bulls, the world's greatest moderator joining us in the house.